Hello and welcome to Midweek Gaming. Another fun-filled packed week with plenty of good topics. Hope YouTube's all good. Welcome to the chat. Welcome, Mr. Tushi. Sorry we couldn't make it this week, but we found a replacement. Actually, we found too many replacements. I was getting that many DMs. Good evening, Carlos. Good evening. Basically, everyone in the panel's talking. So I'm not going to bring you up, so just to introduce you. If you want to check out a cool gaming website, check out www.bg4ghub.com. It's a really great site compared to the mainstream media websites out there. Welcome, Indie Gamer. Welcome, Matt Barnes. Welcome, Reconda News. Welcome, Removable Sanity. How are you doing?
I can't complain. It's nice to be on again, and the fact you keep inviting me on is a little bit weird, but I'm going to say thank you.
No, you're a good panel co-host, and you contribute. Like a lot of people don't realise that a lot of hosts normally get all the topics themselves. So I actually let the co-host and that contribute, and normally they come up with a bunch of good topics, which is always good.
We do try, don't we?
Yeah.
We do try.
Regular panel. Welcome, VJ. How are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. Yeah, good to be here, and thanks for having me back on the show. And it's a shame Mr. Tushi's not about, but I hope you're feeling a lot better.
Yeah, hopefully. He'll be back next week on a high. Xbox Series X and S week. He will be. Definitely. Welcome, Shizno8. Thanks for stopping in, mate. If you could share this out on social media, it'd be much appreciated. Welcome, Mav. Thanks for the save.
Hey, no problem. Looks like you didn't need me, but I'm going to have some fun with this party.
Yeah,
and
plenty of DMs there was.
It's going to be a blast. So, yeah, I got the topic list. Looks like it's going to be some fun talk going on here, especially the first one. I'm excited about that topic. So,
no, I will talk about that first, but sometimes I don't always say them in order, but I will say that first.
Okay, good, because I was looking forward to that.
And welcome, Goat Force Gaming. This man is new to the podcast circuit. How are you?
Thanks so much, Stubbs. I'm awesome. It's an honor to be here. Thanks to everybody that joined. I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a while now. So thanks. This is really great.
Oh, definitely. It's fun. It's nice to finally have a conversation with you in person. Well, over the internet on the podcast, and it's got some fun topics, so it should be good. Definitely.
Awesome.
But what people don't realise is earlier on, he had me going. He put his Vox on his voice, and he had me going. He said, "This is my real voice," and I believed him.
I wasn't even trying. Honestly, I didn't even know it was on. I should have left it on. Next time I'm leaving it on.
Fair enough. Welcome, Midway Monster. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome, Flemish. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome, Better Man. Thanks for stopping by, peeps. And welcome, Infinite. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, not too bad. I usually call this the Britcast, but it looks like we're evenly numbered today.
Yeah,
you're taking us out. Yeah.
Usually I call it Britcast. So.
Yeah, 3v3 today.
You should swap me and VJ like down and up, so that way it'll be evenly divided.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Not a thing I can do.
Well, he's in the US though, so you're actually outnumbered 4-2.
Yeah, but he's British. You can't get more from VJ's accent.
He's just a short skip and a jump across the pond. Yeah, he'll go back home real quick.
So got some fun topics. Now, the first one is it's a big question because there's been a lot of debates about various events. I believe there's a fan-based Xbox event happening. Don't quite know what it is or whatever, but do you think Xbox is going to drop some big news just before the launch of the Xbox Series S and S launch? And are you hyped for it? Who wants to jump in with that one first? Tell you what, Goat Force, do you want to answer that first?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if they're going to drop more news. I think they need to. I think they need to keep the narrative going. I I am. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited in general that new hardware is coming, and we're going to get some new toys to play with. The games that I've seen look really interesting. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Soulsborne type games, and so
so you picking up a PS5?
What's that?
So you picking up a PS5 or you buying it on
the
PS4?
I probably will. Right now, I've got both the PS4 and an Xbox One and a Switch as well. So I've got the, a good variety of options. But I am. I'm excited for people to get some new toys and new games to play with, and I'm just looking forward to the launch. But going back to your question, I'm not sure if they're gonna come to the table with more news. What were you going to say?
Sorry, do you have one pre-ordered? Are you one of the lucky people? The Series X?
I do not. No, I do not have one pre-ordered. No, you know what I did? I got a PC toward the end of last year, and I've just been enjoying the hell out of that. So I'm probably going to be, I'm probably going to be a little bit of a later adopter, but I'll certainly be taking in the news and all the gameplay videos that all of you will be posting out there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, most definitely. So sorry to butt in. Were you hyped? I presume you seem to be quite excited about all the next genness, PlayStation, Xbox wise. For
sure. Yeah, very much so.
I would be more hyped if I had a pre-order. I'm nervous. I want one. I couldn't get a pre-order.
I've been watching everybody chase the pre-orders down, and I've got a couple buddies that keep telling me, "Hey, if you see something out there, shoot it over to me right away so that I can jump on it." But I myself have been watching more from the sidelines. I'm going to be a little bit late to the game, but I'm excited for everybody that's going to be getting one in the coming weeks.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Indie Gamer was just saying then. In the same boat as him, he's got a PC rig recently, and he's loving the PC experience. So he's sticking with the PC for the time being, because to him that is next gen.
Yeah, there's just so much that you can do with it beyond just gaming that I'm enjoying. I got into the YouTube thing and the Twitter thing, and that's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and there's such a expansive library beyond the console games too. I've been playing a lot of random smaller games on Steam, and that's been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, no, there is. There's that many games on Steam. It's unbelievable. It is. It's all good though. I mean, if you're enjoying the PC, that's good to hear. That is definitely.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for your take on it. Welcome, Homer J. Welcome, Warwick Gaming Channel. Better Man. Do we know if there's more units available? Now, there was a rumor put out there that all stores were getting more units off the consoles. Now, I'm not getting into anything news-wise, but in the UK tomorrow we're going to lockdown. But I hope that still stands. I hope Amazon are getting more, and they might just not be saying anything because the scalper bots might be waiting. So on launch day, they might just drop them onto the website as the extra stock. I'm presuming that's what would happen. I'm praying. People are saying it's not going to happen, but I honestly want one. I do, But hopefully that is the case. But it was a rumor put out there. But apparently Xbox came out and said it. But I don't know how official that news was. I'm not quite sure. Welcome, Mariz Kado. I think I'm saying your name wrong.
Misuko.
Welcome, Misuko. Thanks for that removal. Yeah, I appreciate
it as well.
I appreciate you all coming and stopping by. Please slap the like button and drop a sub if you fancy it. We're a growing podcast weekly. We are. People seem to be liking what we're doing. But yeah, it's all fun. And now we'll get to VJ. What are your takes towards? Do you think there'll be another event? Dropping some big news, and are you hyped to get your Series X?
So there's two questions there. I'll answer the first one, and then depending on time permitting, then maybe I'll answer the second one. I think consolidation is key for me. Xbox, as PR and marketing, has been working overtime, I think, in the last several weeks, if not months. I think they're getting very well versed in knowing sort of the consumer's mind, and in terms of manifestations of thought, perception, emotion, determination, memory, and imagination. That all takes place within the brain, right? That's how they look at it.
Yeah, it is.
Mind is often used to refer especially to the thought process of reason. Everything these companies and even governments, right, do is to formulate hype, in most cases sow and harvest stupidity, right, in the vast majority of humans. I would say, yes, I know I'm very cynical. That's just the way I am. Just either you love it or you hate it. I would say, so Microsoft, look, consolidate your position and showcase what you've promised and finally deliver on those promises. And what I'm referring to is that I've been on quite a few podcasts, as you guys know. And
yes, you're like a DJ with loads of gigs.
Yeah, I don't know about a DJ, but yeah. But Boxenberger comes to mind. He's constantly asking, look, when are we going to see, even a minute or 2 minutes of Senua Saga 2? Because they've been working on it for so long, like 3.5 years or something, he said. And Halo Infinite, again, I know we're getting sporadic bits and pieces of information. Everwild is another one, and Medium, right, which is almost like a pseudo launch title for them. And I just don't think we've seen enough of any of them. You can say, well, they've bought Bethesda, but that's just more geared towards the promise of tomorrow. And that's really, for me, when I look at it, like with no emotion and stepping back, that's more of a Sony marketing strategy, where they've sort of proven and delivered on time and time again, pointing to future promise. So if I was an investor in Xbox, which I am, and everyone on this panel, I'm assuming, and in the chat is purchasing an Xbox Series X, effectively is an investor. Yeah. And I want to ensure Microsoft and Xbox delivers on what they've shown us so far, and what every game optimized for Series X looks like and actually offers us, because I haven't really seen much, and maybe there's more out there. I haven't been paying attention. So feel free to correct me. My reasons for buying an Xbox is because they are creators of games, and games themselves are wish to experience AAA games and indie games. Just a shout out to Indie Gamer, because he's done nothing but support me and educating me about indie games. And I really didn't know much about them until I joined Twitter. I think at first he thought I was stalking him, but I think he's realized I'm all right. So
yeah, you are.
Yeah. And more so, I'm buying an Xbox. Well, most importantly, I think for everybody, is to experience the games that I want to play, but with friends. The Xbox itself does not in any shape, way, or form, for me at least, sort of vibrate with any magnificence or magnification or a coming of a new dawn. What I mean by that is that I couldn't really care less about the Xbox. It's simply just a means to an end. I think I was listening to somebody a couple of weeks back that kind of stuck with me, and I don't know if it's relevant, but I think it was Stephen Fry. He said something along the lines: there is no moral achievement in having a good brain, and more than there is sort of like no moral achievement by having sort of large breasts or a small nose or red hair or blue eyes, or that we're already given. And just as for me, when I see Twitter and why I stay off it now, it just doesn't appeal to me whatsoever. There is no moral
boring now, isn't it? I'll get a bit sick of it.
There is no moral achievement in owning an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, as far as I'm concerned. I know you've asked the second part of the question. I can answer it if you want, but You sure? Okay. I don't know if anybody had fallen asleep, especially the American contingency.
Whoa! I'm awake.
Yeah. To answer this one, I'm only excited and intrigued and fascinated in so much as the quality of life features these consoles have to offer us. I think the panel that we have today, we've all said this before, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating certain things, and I apologize to the chat as well in this instance, is the quality of life features I'm referring to are stuff like quick resume, faster load times, resolution and frame rates. These are not a necessity, but in my opinion, they're pleasantries and upgrades for us to enjoy lightheartedly and not beat a personified angry or arrogant drum about, like people do on Twitter to get one up on each other. For me, it's similar to being told while sort of sitting in a tight, smelly economy seat, which I've done quite a lot in my lifetime, ready for a 13-hour long sort of long haul flight. Wow. But then a lady comes up to you, that due to the flight being oversold, you've been selected for an upgrade, and you're now going to be seated in first class seats. I just hope it includes first class meals as well as not those stale economy dishes left over from the previous flight. Anyway, so that's the effect of a new system is having on me. Is not an emotional one, but for most people, it will be a sort of an emotional or resounding quiver of excitement that sort of shoots through your body. That's what you feel, right, when you hear about these things, right? For me, stuff like ray tracing, VRS is it, low times, frame rates, resolution, are a distraction and a language and a narrative for idiots. I'm sorry, but I'm not feeling that well today. I'm a bit medicated today, so you'll have to forgive my my little bit of.
Nobody would have ever guessed.
They're not a part of my decision making criteria or process when I buy a new system. We are getting too focused, and I said this yesterday, we're getting too focused on PR and marketing blurb from Xbox, Sony, and so-called journalists. Okay. I have no real idea how all these features will pan out longer term, right? In 1 or 2 years, we may very well look back and say we were caught out and consumed by ridiculous claims by VR, PR blurb and tech talk that was simply in its infancy compared to what PCs can do at that point in time in the future. If we keep following and I'm wrapping up now, if we keep following every narrative like sheep or squirrels chewing and nibbling on nuts, then soon we won't be able to see the wood for the trees or forest for the trees for American English people here. So I'm just paying respect to the panel. So those that are not familiar with the British English term, it means we're getting to a point where we're kind of getting involved and overly concerned in details of something, and so much that we don't really notice what's important about the thing as a whole. So that's what worries me. Well, it shouldn't really. I just step out of it now. I'm outside the camp spitting in, to be honest with you. And it's not just gaming that suffers from this kind of lack of wisdom, I should say. But anyway, I'm going to stop there. I need to go grab a drink. So yeah, someone else can take over.
Yeah, thanks. You are right. People are getting too wrapped up with these terms, and all it really matters is, does your game look a bit better than before, and are the games enjoyable in reality? That's all it really matters, But thanks for that, VJ. I like that opinion. It was very, very nice, as always. Welcome, Cerebral Paul. Welcome, Matt Barnes, and welcome, Pong Soul. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. I appreciate it. Infinite, what are your thoughts on the? Do you think Xbox are going to drop some big news, and are you hyped for the new Xbox consoles coming out?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be dropping big news, but I definitely see that we can expect some stuff from Ubisoft. Obviously, they showed that one photo of the pig with the eyeglass with the X on. I don't know how much big information we're going to get between that and here. I mean, we're Thursday right now and coming out next Tuesday. So it was, 5 days there in between. So I don't know how much big information, like as the big information was for maybe the Bethesda's acquisition, but I think we'll see something maybe going into Game Pass, maybe the Ubisoft games, but not their new stuff, but their older stuff. That's what I'm expecting. Nothing more.
Yeah, that would be good.
And for expectations of being excited about, more like what VJ was saying, the quality of life, the faster resume, the quick resume, the faster load times, such as that. I'm not super excited about it as if I was going from the X when this X1 came out versus just a regular Xbox old VCR. But other than that, that's about it.
Oh, no, fair enough. You're definitely right. I mean, for me, it's like I haven't got an Xbox One X, so the improvements if I manage to secure a Series X, which I'm very nervous about, I'm hoping to get one. I'll be on the internet sites at midnight. I will, hoping they drop some or something. But But no, I do still own an Xbox, as people call it, the VCR one. I also own one of them as well. And I still,
so you're going to notice a big difference between the two, and it's going to be mind-boggling for you, I'd imagine.
Probably.
When I went from the OG Xbox to the VCR version, the original Xbox One to the X, I was mesmerized with the quality.
Oh no, I mean, I own the VCR one, and I own these the all digital edition because it's in Britain last year, Black Friday. They were like £100. How could you turn that down? Even with next gen around the corner, I still bought one. Because it was that cheap. Yeah, no. Thanks for your thoughts, Infinite. Who else we got? Welcome, UK Dazarus, and welcome back for the dead. Thanks for stopping by, people. I appreciate it. My hype levels will go up once I secure it. I'm still hyped. And Mav, are you? I mean, I've asked you. I'm really got lost. Have I asked you, Mav?
Not yet. I've been waiting.
There you go.
I've been waiting.
I'm getting lost already. There you go. Right, so Mav, do you think there'll be some big news drop before the launch? And are you hyped for the new consoles?
Am I hyped? Of course I'm hyped.
Yeah,
I'm one of those stupid guys that BJ was talking about that just like oogles all over these little news drops, and it's like I start drooling and getting excited, right?
The drooling I can accept.
So yes, I am hyped. I'm actually maybe more hyped than I've ever been, and it's for one main reason. It's not just about the promise of what we have coming in the future, which is awesome, and I think there's going to be great things in store for us in the future for Xbox. It's also everything that I already have digitally on my Xbox is going to be better. So I've spent a whole generation investing already into this platform, and now I'm carrying that with me, where I'm going to be experiencing a lot of these games in a better way. And as a console gamer that has primarily played on console and very little on PC over the years, that is new for me, right? To be able to have this upgrade that is going to improve everything that I've been playing, whether it's better frame rates or it's going to make some games enjoyable for me, where maybe the jittery frame rate takes you out of the experience, right? Where you now have this improved game, and they're also improving textures and all these things. And I keep thinking about all these games I want to play. And if you're familiar with my streams, you see I do play a variety of things.
You do,
right?
very, very good variety.
So I'm very excited about that. That has me hyped because even if there was nothing new coming, for me, it would still make sense to buy that machine. Right? Because I get a better experience. And it's not just the improved frame rates and the ray tracing that's going to come on the next gen games or any of that. It's the fast loading, the whole user experience is just going to be faster, smoother, quicker. That has me hyped. So I was hyped for my PlayStation as well, especially because the controller seems really cool, but I got screwed out of that. So
I feel for you there.
I have to wait. As far as the day before the console launches on November 10th or on November 9th, I do think we are getting some news. I don't know how big, but if you go back and think about what Xbox did right before pre-orders went live, there was a massive bit of news that dropped that day. And Xbox is rumored to have retail units available at stores, right? Please, so I started thinking, what have they not shown us? What is there that they could possibly give to us the day before the console goes on sale to generate that extra bit of buzz, that extra bit of hype to send people over the edge and have to buy that Xbox? And I'm thinking of a couple things. I don't think we're going to get all three of these, but I'll go into a little bit of speculation town. Okay.
Yeah.
The initiative, I believe, has gameplay that is ready to be shown. I'm not saying the game's coming out like early next year or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I believe they do have gameplay that's ready to be shown. It was rumored before that they were going to be having gameplay at the game showcase and that it was also held out of that showcase. We do know that Drew Murray, who is creative director for that game, has let his daughter play the game. We've seen that on Twitter. Yeah. Also, Daryl Gallagher, Andrew Murray recently had a dinner or lunch meeting for the first time since March, right? And he posted that on Twitter. Little clues, maybe, maybe I'm looking way too deep into this because it's just fun to do so. But I think they do have something that they could show us on November 9th. And I think it would be next gen focus that would show some of this next gen type gameplay that people have been craving and wanting to see from an Xbox first party. And that would do some of what people have been craving and wanting. Like that would explode on the internet. The Initiative's new game, this amazing looking third party adventure type game or whatever it's going to be, right? If it is that. The second thing, Compulsion. They could reveal what they're working on if they really believe in that game, which we believe they do because they've been investing heavily in that studio.
Oh, most definitely, because Phil Spencer did say he was excited for a game from Compulsion and Initiative.
Yes.
So they both must have something special.
Dropping another little hint. Just like these little things that they say sometimes is very calculated. And then the third thing would possibly be another acquisition of some sort. That to me, I think would be less likely at this point. I think they would wait to do something like that until after the sell is finalized with ZeniMax before they keep announcing too many of those things. But I think there are other things like that in store for us. We just don't know what they're going to be. But yeah, I think there's something there that gameplay and the other maybe Hellblade 2 gameplay, like y'all were talking about, could be shown there. Because I think they could have something ready to be shown that way, or maybe a new trailer for Hellblade 2. And it's not going to be like mind-blowing stuff. It's just going to be like, hey, here's a new game. Here's a gameplay trailer. This is coming on Xbox exclusively. It's going to launch on Game Pass in the future. Get hyped. Buy an Xbox tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, there is an event in London, in the UK for the 9th. I don't know whether that's a news event or whether it's just a fan service event like like EXO. I think it's an internet based event though, to be honest.
Yeah,
it will be with all this.
They haven't announced anything for America. They've announced the New Zealand, they've announced Mexico, they've announced the UK thing, and then for US they've announced the 10th launch party, right? But what did they do at the Tokyo Game Show? They said that, hey, there's not going to be any news at the Tokyo Game Show. Set reasonable expectations. They set that for the launch party. There's not going to be any news at this, right? But before the Tokyo Game Show, right before pre-orders went live, they dropped the bomb of ZeniMax, right?
Yeah, they do that to set expectations lower, so when they drop the news, it's even bigger.
Yeah.
That's people like me think, I don't believe you. You're going to drop something.
Maybe I'm crazy.
But sometimes, we'll have to say, welcome, Max. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome, Cerebral Paul. I can't remember if I shouted you out, but shout out to you, mate. So yes, removable sanity. What are your thoughts on the question?
Are they going to drop something? I have and again, a bit like everybody, it's going to be a gut feeling. I suspect, a bit like what a few people have said, it's potentially could be gameplay trailers or some sort to try and get everyone's hype. I do have it's like a hairs on the back of the neck sort of style that they've got something up their sleeve. The question, I think, is if it will be dropped before the actual release date, or are they going to hold it for potentially just prior to December, ready for the Christmas boom, effectively.
The Game Awards.
Yeah, I've got a gut feeling they will probably end up doing like a trailer-esque, maybe for the actual release date, but then the really big news just before, like the Game Awards or something along those lines. because they, as VJ said, they've managed the hype exceptionally well at the moment. They are keep pushing. They are keep keeping it going. So I'm in two minds, but I do believe they probably have something. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. As for the hype, I'm probably going to be the odd one out here. My hype goes from curiosity to actual. I'm very interested in seeing what's going on. It kind of fluctuates, and this is mostly between, me realizing what we're going to get day one, which will probably end up being a lot more back combat about games themselves running at a smoother frame rate, potential patches for a large number of games that will now work better, and also just the odd couple of new titles that are going to be coming out through there. And as indie is, I'm also kind of intrigued with the indie games that are coming through regardless. So it kind of fluctuates. One week I'm kind of really raring to go, and the other week I'm kind of, well, maybe I'm holding back a bit. I guess I'm cautious. This is I guess I'm cautious until I get, and it'll probably be the moment I unbox it, then I'll probably go slightly overboard. That's when it'll really come out. Once I see it in front of me, once I see it turned on, then it will all come out. Right now, I'm being cautious. And again, I think this is probably of those who have the pre-orders. I don't know if anyone else is it. I'm on tenterhooks. I guess I'm kind of waiting for them to say, actually, your pre-order's not gonna. We've cocked up somewhere. You're not gonna get it, or so I'm being exceptionally cautious. And once it's in front of me, maybe then that's when it'll probably kick in. But right now, I'm holding back a little bit.
Fair enough. It's understandable. Mate. But yeah, thanks for your views. I think either way they're going to drop something, and big or small, and the hype level seems to be very, very big for the community. Welcome Green Pass Gaming, thanks for stopping by, and welcome Moan Dog Gaming, thanks for stopping by as well. It's a good. That's a very good two. That was actually two topics. That was in one. That was a very good section of the podcast. Well, now I've got a question here, and you all know the questions anyway. But now a lot of people have been asking like favourite games of generation, but I went with a different spin. Which games would you say were the biggest, not the best games of generation? What would you say were the games that impacted the game industry and changed it in a way? Now, I'm going to say mine first. You're all going to hate me, but I do play this game, and Mav will probably back me up on this because I know what's Removable Sanity knows what I'm going to say. Biggest game changer. Wait a minute. Someone's view botting me. Well done. Congratulations. 100 people. I know someone's botting me. I'm not silly. And I'll carry on. But it's Fortnite, basically, because no games touched it. I mean, people laugh at me. I do play it. I do have the season pass, but Microsoft paid for my season pass anyway. It's good fun on Fortnite. That's what I believe the biggest game changer is towards the industry anyway, I believe. But yeah, no. Who should go with this time? I will go with. I'll go with Infinite.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same exact thing. Believe it or not, the battle royale genre alone being brought to the consoles after PUBG, with Fortnite, and then obviously we had Forza. We have battle royale for Battlefield. I mean, and then Call of Duty. That battle royale genre exploded on consoles with the 100 people VR. I mean, what else could we say? That there's nothing else that's even touched that. That's everybody's tried to copy it since.
They have. I mean, although it wasn't the first battle royale game, it was the one that's made the biggest impact, and the memento don't seem to be don't seem to be slowing down. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's the biggest game change. I mean, you agree? I mean, not everyone will, because Although you don't have to like a game, but when you look at what it's done to the industry, it has changed it.
Yes, everybody's tried to copy it since then. Every big publisher has tried to create a BR in one of their games, and all because of the hype of Fortnite.
Definitely. Can't blame big companies for doing it. But that's where like Fortnite get away with it for charging for skins and battle pass because it is a free game.
Absolutely. I've probably paid 3 times, 4 times, 5 times over a normal price of a $60 game and just in skins alone on Fortnite. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the kids when that game first launched, the kids were coming up every day. Can I have $5? Can I have $5? Can I have $5? Can I have $5? Just so they can get skins. I got a lot of cleaning done around the house during that time.
Oh man, that really hits home for me.
Yeah,
house cleaning, you name it. I mean, I got the lawn mowed quite a few times for $5. Can't get cheaper labor than that. Now they've moved on. They've gone into other games and they've distanced themselves away from Fortnite as much as they were playing it. But for a very short period of time there, maybe for a year straight, they were on it day and night. I mean, all day. They'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even have to wake them up for school. They'd wake up early enough to get onto that game just so they get some wins in the morning and then go to school. They have hundreds and hundreds of wins.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no. I mean, recently I got a number 3 place on the game. I was quite impressed because I don't know whether a lot of kids play it or not, but a lot of them don't know how to win gun battles. They just stand still. They don't move about or anything. It's quite a lot of the gamers. I find that they're quite easy to take down. I don't even build. All these buildings they build up in seconds. I don't do that. But yeah, no. That's fair enough, Infinite. You agree with that position.
Absolutely.
But just so the chat knows, I'm being view-bot attacked, okay? This isn't normal, but it's quite annoying, but what can I do about it, What's your view on it, Mav? Biggest game changer for the game-wise?
well, I do agree with Fortnite also, and I guess you could extend that to PUBG, which kind of kicked off the popularity of the genre and to begin with. But like Fortnite did it free to play,
Yeah.
But for sake of a different game, I'll say Destiny.
Fair, yeah.
Because that, even though that did technically launch on both last gen and current gen at the beginning of the generation, that game has endured the entire generation and grown, and it still has a huge fan base, and has also cemented a different kind of genre to exist, and that's the games of service type game. And this is one we've seen trying to be recreated from multiple studios as well, without success, like Destiny has done. Some have had some success, but we keep seeing publishers come out with different ideas of how to have games that can be like Destiny. And it's one of those games that definitely changed the industry. And that is impressive for a developer to create 2 different franchises, 2 different publishers that have changed gaming and the trajectory of gaming. And of course, I'm talking about Bungie creating Halo, and then now creating Destiny. And it's true, both games have changed the gaming industry, right?
Yeah,
So regardless of how you feel about Destiny, if you think it's like an amazing game, or if you love it or hate it, that even though it doesn't get 9s, you know what I mean? It is extremely popular and has created a new genre. So Destiny is definitely one of those games that has just had about as much impact as Fortnite, although I'll say not quite the same.
Oh, most definitely. All make it. It's I know I see a different view on the game changes, but you are right. They've definitely been impactful on the industry, definitely. But as people have been saying, loot boxes have been game changers. Yeah, we got rid of it.
Yeah. Oh, the worst thing about this generation, can I add that in real quick? The worst thing about this generation is loot boxes, but if you want to go a step further than that, would be the ultimate team modes in sports games, and how overpriced they are. Also, we had this discussion before about how people charge for things in $60 games, right? Well, in those games, like every weekend, you have $100 bundles that come out that are just imaginary cards that you get better players to help you win, right? So that kind of model is by far the worst thing of the generation, and hopefully that finds its way out of gaming.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, no, it's a very good take on it. You are right. I didn't expect you to agree with Fortnite totally, because there are different perspectives.
It's had such a massive impact. I mean, like Infinite said, like every morning, my daughter's like, "Hey, actually, it's at 7:00 at night on the dot. The new item shop comes out, and it's like an event every day for these kids just to see what's in the item shop. It's an excitement thing that she has to see the TV at 7:00.
Actually, I bought a skin yesterday. It might have been in the item shop, but it was £3.24.
Yeah.
And it came with 600 V-Bucks. I bought it. I like the skin, but I've never spent no more than that yet.
But like Infinite, it has created some great manipulation possibilities for me.
Oh yes, absolutely.
It's so true.
Use that to your benefit. It's absolutely great, and it's only $5. You can get a lot done for $5.
I mean, they're going to be spending that money on something.
Especially if they didn't see what was in there the night before, and they're getting on at like 6:30 the night after, and they're like, "Oh my god, I missed that. Can I get it?" And you're like, "What can you do? I can't help you. I need this done. I need this done. I need that done." Then they're hyped for it because they know it's going to leave the store.
To me, it's a fair model too, because you can not buy anything and play that game and still have an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, because it's not pay to win, and that's what's absolutely okay with that model. That model's absolutely okay. It's like you had mentioned with the pay to win with the cards. That's a bad take this generation.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely game changing. Now let's go to Goat Force. Have you got what's your take on the biggest game this generation impact wise on the games industry?
Yeah, I had a few, but some really good call outs. And I just wanted to comment on the can I have $5? Can I have $5? So it's Minecraft in this house. And let me tell you, those tiny hands can get stuff clean like never before. So it's a perfect model. I subscribe to it. I'm glad you guys are finding some luck in that as well. And I agree with everything you said about Destiny. I would argue that it opened up the door for good or bad games like Anthem, similar model. And on the Battle Royale thing, I agree with that quite a bit too. And I never thought I would get into one of those games, but recently a buddy and I jumped into Spellbreak, and we had some fun with that one. If you guys haven't tried that yet, it's good. But on the topic of the games that really made the generation, I had a few that came to mind. One of them was Middle Earth, the Middle Earth game, Shadow of Mordor, and this concept of the Nemesis system. It blew my mind at the time. You've got AI getting pissed off at you and then showing up at random times on the battlefield, and it felt real. And it created an anger in me. Like, I got to go get that guy. I got to get him now. And I thought that was really neat. The other one that came to mind that was kind of unique was Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh.
And, just some of these gigantic battles that you didn't even have to participate in. I mean, I remember a point where I was in the field, and way up ahead, you had 3 or 4 robot animals fighting each other and knocking chunks of metal and armor and machinery off of them, and I didn't even have to participate. I had fun just watching from the distance. So those two come to mind. Bloodborne, I don't know that it made any major changes. It certainly added an aggressiveness to the Soulsborne style games that I don't know had been done before. That really was what got me to buy the PS4. But we've really been blessed with some great titles this generation. Those were the ones that came to mind for me.
Oh, most definitely. You got some definitely a good view and perspective on it. Goat Force, definitely. You have, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I say that you're pretty good at this, Goat Force?
You are doing very well.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just knocked me a bit. The viewbot attack. That's all.
Yeah, it's gone now.
I know. I got my suspicions anyway. But I'm not talking about it on air. But
bloody Tushy.
But we're definitely the viewbot's gone. You can tell now. But yeah, no, you have a very good take on that, Goat Force.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, right, VJ. What's your? Sorry, guys.
Yeah, what was the question, Stubbs?
The question is, I'll just get it up again. I will. Which game do you think is the most impactful on the game industry this gen?
I don't play enough games to really comment on terms of a game, but what I will say, it's which publishers have actually managed to create these games. There was a documentary about it. I don't know where I was watching. It might have been Yong Ye, where he was actually delving into how loot boxes and microtransactions came about, and how EA had actually invested into psychologists and so on and so forth to be able to look into children's minds in terms of how to engage them and how to get them addicted. So I think what you have to look at is the publishers, the way that they formulated such product, right, and caused this phenomena, this paradigm shift, if you want to call it that, and how it's taken place in terms of selling, as I said, a Trojan horse in order to theoretically or inevitably generate more revenues via microtransaction. I think that's what's surprised me more than anything, and I don't really have much more to say than that, other than I did talk about it extensively yesterday, and I don't really want to bore Mav to death again. But I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, Fortnite was something that was in development as a kernel of an idea, I should say, in 2011.
Yeah,
and,
they stopped Gears of War, stopped making Gears of War, put it on the shelf, and started working on Fortnite, Save the World. And then they got on this battle royale, and it took off. Yeah, and it's the best decision they ever made financially.
Well, yeah, I think so. But I think what you have to look at is that what we don't know is that a lot of these publishers, developers, they attend so many seminars, and probably now virtually, where a lot of these different execs from different departments within companies like Sony, Microsoft, Activision, that they attend, and they look at where gaming is headed and how it needs to be curated, how it needs to be modified, and how it needs, not in terms of technology and creativity, in terms of how do we make more money. So some of these ideas that we're seeing in 2017, and we read on Wikipedia that, hey, this was unheard in 2011, I think some of these things occur far, far earlier than that. I mean, I think it was 2018 when Sony told its shareholders in Japan that they were making X amount of revenue, 50% of the revenue from 10 games. And I think some of them have been mentioned on this show. And you only have to go look at their financial results, which I mentioned yesterday, just for Q1, which runs from April 1st to June 30th. The 35% or 2.6 billion was just from microtransactions. It's unheard of, right? So, yeah, I think it's a case of how we've been manipulated and how few of us actually realize the fact. And that's probably why I'm veering more and more.
The psychology behind it.
Yeah, it is, but I don't suppose it's a popular opinion, the one I'm giving. But I think
not wrong.
I think it's an interesting psychological point, and I've been discussing it sort of offline with people as well here and there, just not intentionally, but it's just come around as in, oh, these new $500 machines. I said, yeah, well, people are paying $500 machine that, they spend $300 clubbing, go to Manchester and, on a Saturday night and watch how much money people are spending. But the point is that, again, yeah, they are spending that money in a nightclub, but they're not spending 200-300 quid in one go. They're spending it on drinks in incremental amounts. So it doesn't impact the mind psychologically as much, right? Your mind can sustain that and digest it and accept it, right? And release payments in the midst of having great fun. And I think, when I've just spoke to Mav and I think Goat Force, they mention, their kids, at certain times of the day or certain, times during the week, they'll be ready and waiting, for you to open your wallet for $4 or $5, right? And that's just the play. That's just the play. And it actually dovetails back into the first question that you asked, right? In terms of you looking forward to it. And my mind was already, in the terms of how well these corporations know our minds and how they work better than we do ourselves, because they're plowing so much money into figuring out, our perceptions, emotions.
You're right. Just
psychological advertisement's been going on since
I just want to bring something up. A while back, I watched a video. I don't normally watch government. Sorry.
Kidding. I'm just kidding.
Government videos on basically when the Fortnite developers got brought into the UK government and Parliament. And they were asked that question. Did you say psychoanalysis? They got asked that, do they psychoanalyze and think of the mental health? And do you have people trying to work out how much for people to buy and everything? And
they focus on their shareholders' mental wealth.
No comment. And in the end, they said, have Epic Games' lawyers told you how to talk to us? Yes. And they said, well, we're not going to get much further, are we? No. We can't say anything legally. Just kept saying no comment with it. But no, but you are right, VJ, completely. You are. But have I got to you removable on this question?
No, I'm always the last at the moment. I'm happy with that. Just to kind of pick up on VJ's point, the game of selling and advertisement, and in turn, basically understanding your customer, has been going on since television has been into our homes, and even then prior to that, radio. It's been viciously studied at how to get the customer to do what you want, and probably the one person who will probably be absolutely key to this in terms of describing it better to everybody, including the audience, would be actually Xbox Pope. He's in that industry, and as he says, he's done it himself, where he says just by the color, sound, the positioning, he can determine where someone is going to buy something. They've analyzed people's patterns for a good 50 years, and I would say the gaming industry is catching up to where the general advertisement is coming. It's probably not even pushing further in some cases. So it's been going on for ages. It's just that maybe we've probably got now the ability to look at it and educate ourselves upon it. We've got the internet now, so we can Google search, I would say, and just look around and say, oh, actually, that's the sort of trick you're using to get us to buy. So that's just a kind of a little bit of a leeway back into VJ there. But in terms of a generation, it's the one I'm going to nominate actually got mentioned by Goat for 2 seconds, and for me, it's Minecraft. It is predominantly the biggest game so far. It is sold billions. It is also, I would say, the most influential from the indie gaming side, because indie gamers, this was an indie game that was bought out by Microsoft and has become a worldwide hit. I mean, I don't think anyone in this panel probably doesn't know about Minecraft. Whether you've played it or not, you know about Minecraft. And it has, I don't think you can see it being replicated. It's that well done. Replication, I don't think has been attempted. If it has, it's been quickly squashed. But also in terms of influence, I suspect when I speak to indie developers, there is always that title that comes up. It's not the same if it's like the challenge chasing the mythical dragon, but it is that it's given the indie generation a goal to attain. They've seen someone do it. They've seen someone go from very little, create something into a multi-million-pound game. And it's given people hope, at least in the indie game scene. That's how I see it. And I think, as I said, there are so many aspects which I think it's influenced, not just maybe on the AAAs, not maybe just in terms of how indie games themselves are slightly viewed. I think that played a very big part in terms of maybe seeing indie games a little better than what they were, because they were probably heavily looked down upon. And at the moment, it is the biggest game out there. It's I can't think of any other game that is right now.
I would say
no one can. Obviously, there are other games like you said, Fortnite, Destiny, but in terms of,
but yeah. But there's tons of knockoffs of Minecraft that kids play too. There's knockoff versions of it. It's annoying, you know.
But they've never managed to hit that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is they've never hit that stride. You know, it's often the old frame. Often copied, never replicated.
They've got Frozen characters now in Minecraft now. Recently, you can have the Frozen characters now and all sorts. You know.
Yep. We just bought that set.
Have you? Oh, okay.
Yep. Not for me.
Thank you for boosting Xbox's profits.
You having fun with that, Goat Force?
Happy to do it. Oh, I love it. Yeah. I sing along too.
Building your ice castles.
Yeah, ice castles, ice dragons, the whole nine.
But that's what the thing. The game itself is multi-generation, and I'm not talking about generation in terms of the console. I'm talking about multi-generation in terms of the player base. You can have people who will create such wondrous elements from an adult perspective, but also it will entice children as well. It is multi-age group, I should is probably the better terminology.
Definitely.
It hits everybody.
Right. I think you're right.
I bought Minecraft back in the 360 days, and back then they let you change it to the Xbox One, and I still own it now, but I very rarely play it. But my son does now, so he's getting into it a bit.
But the ray tracing just alone for that. What was the very first demo they showed on ray tracing?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Welcome, I Still Rain. Thanks, mate. Thanks for stopping by.
As a genre, as a gaming perspective, that was the first game that I was able to play with the kids successfully and actively play with them. And that was the first one that they actually would search people on YouTube to watch them play as well back in the 360 era. So Minecraft definitely is, I would say, a great contender for that as well. Absolutely.
Is that the first game that was widely successful on mobile as well as console and PC all at the same time?
I think it is, yeah.
So that's part of the reason. You know,
Indies right. Also, one of the biggest on YouTube too. You know, it's really big again because at one point Minecraft, you know, on YouTube it dipped, but now Minecraft videos are back up there with a big money now. They are. So yeah,
he's so right. That's a great call out. My kids are constantly watching it on there to get ideas of things to build.
Yeah, the iPad and tablets are the gateway for these kids to whatever they're going to be into because. You know, they're not watching TV like we used to when we were kids. They watch YouTube, right? My daughter, I tried to get her to play Xbox when she was younger, right? But she didn't have any interest. She just wanted to play games on her iPad. She was completely fine with that. And even with motion control, the screen controls and all that, it didn't bother her. She's a master with that stuff, right?
Yeah, they don't bother. It's like people that slag off Xbox for xCloud. Now, what people have to understand is they're not looking at us. Yeah. They're looking at kids of the future who don't give a damn about having a controller because they're even making games now on the tablet as part of the xCloud. So if you don't want to use a controller, you can use the on-screen touchscreen. They're looking at the kids of the future. This is what people ain't getting.
The iPad was the gateway to console gaming now. Right, because she made friends on there and everything, and then she started playing Fortnite. Got popular on iPad, you know, so then she's like, oh, I want to play it on the Xbox now, right? So then now she plays other games, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's just mobile gaming is more important with things than we realize, and Minecraft and Fortnite are two examples of that.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome, Prophet. It's Fortnite. Have they given up their campaign against?
Right now it is not up to date on iOS.
So, is it on there? Or is it not on there?
I think she can still play it, but the item shop is gone. Like it's like not caught up with the updates and stuff like that.
Right. So is it back on there? You can download it, or is it not?
I don't think you can download it, but I think if you already had it, maybe you can play it. I'm not
In
sure.
the end, they're gonna have to bite the bullet and just say sorry and get it back on there, because they've got to be losing a lot of money. I'm telling you, they've got to be. I know they've got a lot of money, but it's got to be costing them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alas, you know. But yeah, no, that was a very, very good topic. That was all very good topics tonight. All varied opinions, which you always like. Thanks for the chat for stopping by. Please drop a like, share, and subscribe, and share us out on social media. It's been fun so far. Hasn't it? I've got another topic. This won't be a big topic, most likely, because we don't really know a lot about this game. I mean, all the information we had in videos was. Even the developers themselves admitted they weren't entirely sure what this game was. And it's basically the game EVERWILD. The creative director, Simon Woodruff, has left his position at Rare. So what's your opinions on this removable sanity? Because he moaned about going last.
No, actually, this one I'm going to pass to VJ, because VJ, this is a one that I know VJ will pinpoint us out. This one I'll back off of, because I really want to hear what VJ says, because I suspect it's probably similar. If he's awake.
I'm awake, but I needed the permission from the host to speak.
Yeah, you're fine.
Else on the panel.
Go in. Yeah.
You sure?
Yes. You're fine. Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, so I am a bit dosed up, so sorry if my thoughts are all over the place. I'm not saying that this is the case here, but since Microsoft employ like almost 165,000 people worldwide. However, ever since I appeared on the podcasting stuff in July, I've noticed that just like investigating a little bit here and there, I think a lot of individuals are overstaying their welcome in positions at Xbox game studios, and probably everywhere, in every corporation to be more specific, but I know that we're talking about Xbox here. If Xbox are freshening things up, and that's what I think is going on, I'm all for it. I see it as a progressive and totally positive step forward in order to achieve what is inevitably required for Xbox to evolve. I think, was it Chris? I forgot his surname. Over at 343 in my
Chris Lee.
my opinion, right?
Someone got their speakers on. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Someone got their speakers on.
Yeah, someone else got something on.
Yeah, I hear it.
I hear it as well.
Is it gone now?
I've been here throughout the entire podcast.
Oh, that's not me.
Not
Anyway,
me. I don't know.
I see it as a so Chris. I forgot the guy's surname over at 343, and it was my opinion, in my opinion, but being removed. And what is this? This guy's name, Simon Woodruff or something, who I've definitely come across the name before, who's allegedly left. Well, he has left, right, or resigned from EVERWILD game and Rare, the company, is someone with or under. Who's worked with what's his name, Matt Booty, over at Midway Games for quite a long period of time, and I understand Matt Booty and his makeup and where he comes from. We won't go into any of that, but I do wonder how many ex-Midway guys are lurking in Xbox's management structure. A lot of, in my experience, a lot of seasoned developers, no matter where they are in the company hierarchy, after a while settle for a set of ideas, if I can put it like that, or a set of beliefs, and stop thinking, evolving, adapting. And for me, that's always been the trap, especially in a creative industry, like games or even in movies for that instance. You know, sorry, I just got this picture in my head of some guy wearing a cap with a lawnmower and a mortgage comes to mind. And that's really the epitome of it. It should be a warning, really, on the front of every workbook at every school for anybody who's wants to get into the creative industry, that confidence and smugness often leads to complacency. And that's, again, in my experience. I say this as sometimes utterly, when I look back, I'm quite old, if you don't know, that when I look back at my life, and I'll be quite honest with you, sometimes I'm utterly disappointed with some of my failings, and well, probably all of them. I am blessed and ought to be satisfied, but that's the truth of the matter. There's always some sort of restless in me, and that sometimes may come through in my commentary on certain questions. There's a generation of many extremely talented writers, artists, and thinkers out there right now, from what I'm seeing across AAA, A, B, C, D, indie games, however you want to rate those, that are less fearful and far more better at gracefully playing with ideas comes to mind. That's the key and the beauty of game development, the ability to gracefully play with ideas, which publishers, when they acquire smaller studios and other studios, they suck the life out of. You don't see it. You don't see the subtle ways in how they do it. Just like you don't know how we're being manipulated in buying certain games and being cornered into, buying games and microtransactions and so on and so forth. That's possibly a reason why so many indie developers, I think, are surfacing, or resurfacing, however you want to put it, to re-engage and reconnect with what inspired them to harness creative careers in the first place. Few studios, in my opinion, sort of employ or practice empiricism, which means to sort of like test theories and don't accept things as they are. It's part of an elite creative's nature of a sort of sense perception. Most studios employ, and you can look at it up yourself, right? You can just see what's happening at 343, and history will tell you, right? The number of studios, you can just research it yourself. Most studios and publishers employ rationale. And rationalism is the belief to sort of focus on innate ideas or reason and deduction, which is fine for some studios, right? That's absolutely fine. I touched on a generation of talent that is trying to find their way in the games industry, which is a really difficult place. It's a tough place, and in a matter of years, it can chew you up and spit you out, and you're burnt out, and you don't want to go. You don't want to go back into it, right? You want to leave and find a career path somewhere else, and again, because people are finding it difficult to get into the industry, they're leaving it to pursue other endeavors due to how, especially in my experience, Western studios and philosophies are sort of inbred versus, say, Asian studios. The point of a good director, and I don't mean a game director, I mean a director in any position or high up in management, is to ultimately guide people with qualities and abilities, but fundamentally have those guys are new and fresh and have less experience, obviously, than yourself, and thus your job is to help them, encourage them, and guide them and improve them, and whilst ensuring that yours and the company's successor is being trained up properly, right? And what I find in the Eastern studios, directors and people in a position of power take pride in that. This is the philosophy, as I said, in Asian countries. Nintendo are a really good example of this. Capcom are, Sony, Santa Monica to a degree are as well. There's just 2 or 3 that spring to mind. In Western studios, I find the opposite is quite commonplace. A vast majority of people protect what they have. They fail to teach and foster talent and do whatever they can to hold on to a position and a seat of power out of fear, and that they may well be surpassed, and it may be revealed that they are actually at a point where the student has surpassed them and they've become redundant, right? And that's why I also see that people don't necessarily teach you everything that you need to know, right? And in that respect, it's sad because knowledge and experience is lost, right? That they fail to foster talent, and more so they fail the welfare and growth of their fellow brothers and sisters, if you want to put it like that, right? So in these sort of news events and developments, that if these sort of people leaving Xbox or changes happening continue to occur and transpire at Xbox, I see it as Phil ringing the changes I selfishly wanted to see ever since I got into podcasting. Be brave and ambitious versus being careful and manageable, being conservative and calculated. And I know Goat and Fun and stuff, you guys don't know me as well, but Removable and Stubbs will tell you exactly this is how I always address this particular issue, right? I try to say, it may not be a popular opinion, but it is consistent, hopefully. The latter being the pigeonhole, I've consistently labelled as Xbox, within the latter category, right? I've just spoke of since being on the show. So I've challenged Phil to address the issues by saying he needs to be more creatively ruthless. I hope I hope Xbox has some interesting and excellent initiatives in order to sort of identify and foster talent to take gaming experiences forward, providing us and us Xbox owners, right? Not just in my eyes, but in terms of how everybody perceives them going forward. So that's really my sort of take on things. So much. I've got some other bits and pieces to say, but I'm just concerned that I've been going on for a bit too long.
Yeah, no, thanks. Really appreciate it, because you give people a more in depth, because of what the jobs you've had in the game industry. You understand more from the other side as opposed to us, the gamers. So it's a good take to get a different viewpoint. Thank you for that, VJ.
Yeah.
What's your view, Goat Force Gaming, on the on the EVERWILD creative director leaving?
I'll admit I don't know a ton about this game, and I appreciate everything VJ said. I don't know. Some of you know that my occupation is spent in recruiting and HR and helping build teams that work on projects. Now,
Okay.
I don't work in the gaming space. VJ, I don't know your background, but it sounds like you spent some time in that space. But through doing that work, I look at this and I say, well, so one person has left. How big is the team? Who is left? Does one person build a game? That's not the way I look at it. So yes, one person has left, but does that mean that we no longer have a game? Because it's not just one person that builds a game. Well, of course, sometimes there is, but so something like this, there's probably a whole team of people, and there's probably somebody being trained up to replace this gentleman. Homer J called out that maybe it had something to do with mental health. And, this has been a rough year on all of us for a multitude of reasons. So if that's the case, that's a bummer. But I would imagine that this group was sophisticated enough to have some kind of structure in play where when people leave, we've got an incumbent that can, either be trained up very quickly and take on that role. I guess I look at it from 2,000 feet up, the helicopter tour view. It's one person. So, should we be worried? And again, folks like VJ that have spent time in the industry, maybe they're ready to say, hey, no, it's a huge, big deal. That role that was left, that's the guiding light, and things are going to be in disarray. But from my vantage point, it's one person.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
I just want to say something to that, right? So, look, it doesn't matter if it's one person, 5 people, 50 people, or 500 people. At the end of the day, the people that are in charge of the shareholders and the people that are investing the money, fundamentally speaking, the stakeholders. So
yes,
remember, there's a hierarchy as well. So yes, a game, it needs all sorts of talent and camaraderie and so on and so forth to build a game. But there's always going to be a key person, like Chris was, right, in charge of the studio. He's in charge of delivering the game. Fundamentally, he's in charge of communicating with the stakeholders and communicating back in a language that the studio understands, and the studio telling him what the issues are, or the hurdles are, or the potential issues are, and him being able to communicate that back to the shareholders. So there's obviously the guillotine, so to speak, right, is at someone's neck. But here's the thing, right? There's 2 types of intelligent producers, directors, leads, whatever you want to call them, right? Everyone's got a responsibility. There's, besides being brave, fearless, and honest, which you definitely need, there's those that, when addressing and speaking to you, make you feel low at, say, knee height, because they hold a position or are so brilliant, right? And then you have those, the ones that make you feel this high because they are so brilliant, right? And if you can imagine, on my latter point, is me raising my hand way above my head as a point of measure. So very few fall into the second category. Again, this is my opinion, right? I mean, things.
No, you're right. I think you need champions. You need champions. I agree with you.
Yeah. Secondly, is you have to understand that a game always starts out very quiet, very lean, and people are working on different ideas, and then it can become a very dark cauldron. It doesn't matter what the game is. Every game goes through its dark periods when they're not sure what's happening. So again, another facet that somebody needs, and I've come across, and again, humor and wit also come into it, especially during really difficult and tough times. I don't mean being witty and humorous and telling jokes, but being the cause of humor and wit in others in order to elevate them. This is really important, fundamental things, which I think some studio heads or share stakeholders, they don't understand. And this is why some games, so many that we don't even know, that have millions pumped in and they never come out. Making people fundamentally feel smarter about themselves is also important. I mean, we could go on in this topic, but you kind of get where I'm coming from. It's not just about a person, this person. It's about the right people coming together, and that's why creativity for me during the 90s was an amazing time, right? And now indie games seem to be a core component or a spearhead of that now as well. But yeah, so I thought I'd just sort of layer that in a little bit on top of your comments. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's great. No, not at all. Don't be sorry. It's great perspective.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's a hard situation. I'm only using it because the news came out this week, but obviously it's more than one person to make a game. But yeah, as you say, it solely can't be always down to one person. You don't know this real situation, do we? You know,
it's true, and at the same time, I think VJ makes a good point. If this person was the champion of this product and could lift others and motivate the people towards greatness, then that really is a big loss. Then you really do take a big hit on the project. So I don't know. I suppose it has to do with the level of talent in this individual, and I don't know his background well. That really drives the outcome, of the impact of his leaving.
Oh, most definitely, it does.
I'm really interested to see what Removable's got to say.
Oh God,
you can take it if you want.
Yeah, I'll dive in. I think, luckily, I'm in an industry, and I've said this a couple of times, that whilst it isn't gaming, has a similar structure to gaming when it comes to the variety of leads, the directors, the creative directors. And there is always, so far, at least in my experience in the industry that I'm in, for creative directors to leave, there's normally two sides of a coin, I would say. And this is just my opinion on this one. It is either that the creative director themselves is frustrated and they feel that their creativity is being stifled either by the team they're working with or more likely the management above them. And there is some large creative differences there they cannot get past. So it's like, right, I'm out. Or it's the other side where they are not burnt out, they have become hardened and slightly cynical, and so the creative juices aren't flowing as much. And I would probably put this into almost like their mental health is starting to ramp up slightly. It's starting to take a toll onto them, because creative people generally are more harsher critics of themselves than anyone else. They also have sometimes bigger egos. And they can be either fantastic to work with or they can be an absolute nightmare. So hearing this person has left, it's going to be kind of where they've gone. That's the question I probably need to know about. What is their next step? If they have left and we don't hear anything, or it's almost like they've just disappeared for a bit, I suspect it's them taking time out to get those creative juices flowing again. It's too much for them. If it's a simple transference of them to a different company, this could be to do with the fact that they're frustrated with the situation they are in. And I mean, I don't know if anyone does know. Please let me know. What is that? Do we know where he's moved to, or do we know he's moved to anywhere, or is it just simply that's it? We know he's left.
He resigned. Didn't, and it wasn't announced why.
Then see, this is the thing. I think this is where it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
Well,
it'll come.
So, sorry, I didn't say that. Well, welcome, Dreadpool. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, nice one, Dreadpool. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. So in the next week or two, maybe month, it will give us what happens next will give us a better indication of what is happening. As VJ said, it could be simply that Phil is shaking things up, and because of that, he's frustrated and he's decided that's it. I can't. It's stifling me, and so therefore I'm moving aside. Or it could be the pressure is getting too much for him. You know, being a creative director, when you've got such a creative mind, it is tough. Your brain has said you are your own worst enemy sometimes.
Just said. He just said that creative people are too critical on themselves, basically.
Oh, 100%. But I also said they also have egos, very large egos. In some cases, it's like a very unique coin. They can be fantastic to work with, but they can also be horrendous to work with, and that depends on the personality of the person. So for me, I'm more interested in what's going to happen next, because that will be the best indication of the reasoning why. We're pretty much guessing at why this is happening.
Yeah, we are.
And it could be a variety of reasons. Probably the two that I've mentioned, and again, this is because I've seen it happen. I think when we find out happens, then I think we'll probably have to make a better judgment of why and what is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, hopefully things get sorted in the end over there. Welcome, Psychonaut. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, no, you've got a good perspective on it, Removable. You have, as always. You have. Infinite. What do you reckon to the creative director leaving?
Well, I'm not too sure about the game itself, but let's be honest, that somebody at that level does not get removed.
Big money, normally.
Yeah, they don't get removed. They'll probably just won't get picked back up on the next project. As VJ was saying, maybe he was feeling stifled, or maybe he didn't feel like his creative director could be as great as it could be somewhere else. There could be a non-compete agreement there. That's probably why he didn't say where he was going. He has to wait up to 6 months to the year for it to run out. Going to work for another company, maybe a bigger, better project that he feels like he's going to do better in and pays better. I think it's still pretty new into the game. I don't think it's going to stifle the game. And as like Goat Force had said, I'm sure there's succession planning there across the board for somebody to fill that role and to move into that role as a new creative director for the company, or for the publisher. Not publisher, but for the game. Sorry.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, they've probably got contingency plans. They have, But yeah, no, it's an interesting topic coming up. But the problem is, it's not really that.
Yeah, as Removable said, it's hard to say with no other information other than he left and don't know where he's going or anything.
It's true. Welcome, Jago. How you doing? It was nice to be on the Retro Renegades reviewing Infinite last night. It was fun. I always enjoy going on the Retro Renegades. It's nice. It's nice and relaxed. There's no topics. And there's Xbox going, we need topics. Come on. No. He gave up in the end, didn't he? Infinite.
Yes.
With some of them.
Kept trying.
He kept trying. I do love
the whole topic idea is obviously new to me. With being Retro Renegades, it's
I know.
You speak up and speak louder. Don't speak at all.
I know, exactly. It's all fun. What's your opinion, Mav? You probably
I kind of hate talking about this kind of stuff just because
you don't have to say on it if you don't.
Well, it's fun speculation, isn't it?
I will. Well, yeah, it's also like kind of. It's in a way, it's like talking negatively about somebody that you don't know anything about, right? You know what I mean? It's like I could speculate what happened, what's going on at the studio. Is there problems going on? Like somebody got the chopping block, but I have no idea personally what's going on in this guy's life. You know what I mean? He could have something personal that he's dealing with, and that we have no clue about. He could be 85 years old. I don't even know. You know what I mean? He could just be like, I can't do it no more. I don't know. So it's kind of like, and we've had a lot of this kind of talk the last like 2 weeks because of Chris Lee and now him, So while we do, I think, should talk about it some because it is about involving games and products that we love. It's also hard to speculate about what's going on with some of these people without knowing anything. 'Cause all that was said is that no reason was given for the creative director's decision to leave, though the studio sources told VGC that he had been absent for some time after submitting his resignation earlier this month. So that's the information that we have, and I don't know enough, other than the fact that Rare, I think, is a seasoned developer that has a lot of talent there and a lot of people that can step up, I would imagine. So they say the game's in good hands, and until I see any other signs of problems with that studio, then right now I'm just going to kind of trust where they're at. And I like what I've seen from the game. I do want to know what it is, because we don't know what it is yet.
No, exactly. It looks nice, but I don't know.
But it is beautiful. And just because of Rare's track record with some of their other games and their history, I kind of have faith in them. You know what I mean? So as far as how I feel about that, I don't know who he is, so I could care less unless it affects the quality of the game, which I don't know if it's going to.
I think they'll be fine. No, I don't think there's doom and gloom around it. I think they'll be fine in the end. They will be. But yeah, let's move on. This is a subject. So basically, the PS5 plates, everyone was hoping you could buy custom plates from third-party companies, but a website called PlateStation5.com has been forced to cancel all the pre-orders and rebrand to CustomizeMyPlates.com following a complaint from Sony. But now the seller has had claims that subsequent threats have gone through. They'll take them to court. Basically, they're not allowed to sell the product. It's down to the fact that I think Sony's saying it's basically our product. You shouldn't be allowed to. It's our intellectual property. You shouldn't be allowed to make spare parts for it, basically. And they've basically shut them down. I mean, I think the company spent a lot of money on, starting the company up, kit, etc., and now they've been shut down, basically. I mean, I have heard some popular opinions that say that on cars you get spare parts and other companies make it, but in the end, these are games consoles. I think these are a bit different to cars. They are, But does anyone have any opinions on the fact that this shouldn't happen? I know you should legally ask Sony for permission to do this, and they're obviously take a cut of sales or a royalty or something. Infinite, what's your view on this one? Have you read much on this one?
Yes, I see it as a ploy for PlayStation to obviously sell themselves to make more money, because they probably want to do it for special consoles, for an easy, cheap way for them to make a custom console. I mean, does anybody remember how many faceplates they owned for the 360? Were those all Microsoft owned? Does anybody know?
They were third party as well.
Yeah, so I mean, what's the difference between the faceplate and the top and bottom cover? I mean, let's be real here. It has to be that PlayStation thought of a good way to make an easy custom console, and now somebody else is going to develop it, and they want the money for themselves. That's the way I see it.
Oh no!
What other reasons could there be? You're not going internally into the box itself to remove plates. It's not like you're going to avoid the warranty. So therefore, why couldn't you change the plates on it?
You'll soon get them pop up on eBay, and you get that many companies.
Oh, absolutely! You'll get knockoffs on China. You'll get them on eBay, no doubt. $5, $6, $7, guarantee it.
Oh, definitely will. Yeah, good thoughts on that. It's not a massive subject you really delve into, but it's a little talking point.
It goes into your next point. I mean, them being greedy.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, no, it's a fun subject, but I kind of seen this kind of thing happening.
Can I offer an opinion? It may not be a very popular one, but at least
I was about to pick it. Yeah, you can go, VJ.
Just to give a little bit of a different dynamic on it, and then it's just an opinion, and just something thought provoking, and may not be popular. Who cares, really? Right? Just have some fun. I did discuss faceplates a little bit yesterday with clowns at Fourth Guys with Quarters. So Mav was on there again. Poor bloke must be getting bored senseless of me now. And so some of my additional thoughts on trademarks and sort of copyright infringement can be found in another subject which you pointed out, which was Ubisoft situation as well, was what's happening to them. But I'm not a lawyer, but Sony being able to sort of warn, threaten, and stop a company considerably smaller than itself. Well, we've seen Nintendo do that quite frequently whenever they've needed to flex themselves, right? And normally to a great result. It's pretty much how corporate property protection against any infringement and the legal system and the legislation seem to be set up and generally work sort of around the world, as far as I can tell. So you only have to look at the situation in India, right, where someone's taken advantage and filed trademark for PlayStation 5 in October 2019 before Sony did. And it's not the first time something like that's happened. I don't know if you guys remember the brand Caterpillar, the boots and stuff.
Oh, yes.
So they faced the same situation in India as well back in 2002. Some guy registered the trademark and the logo and everything, right? So and or you can go far back as even Apple, right, having legal issues over in China, because I'm assuming that's where this is happening at the moment, because trademarks aren't filed in a universal category. They have to be done by territory. And there was a trading company over there that registered iPhone for leather products in 2010. I was over there at the time, and Apple filed a trademark, sort of bid for the name for electronic goods in 2002, but it took them so long to get it approved. I think it was about 10, 11 years. It's just the way that bureaucracy works over there. So if you're in China, you would know that Xintong had little money, and even though it lost to Apple on several other occasions, right, because they tried to trademark all sorts of stuff, including phones, they were definitely not going to lose on all counts, right? It's because of like internal country and political reasons. And if you try to sort of search the internet regarding appeals and what happened subsequently, you can't really find anything. So so they continue to sell their branded products under the iPhone brand. So, and more recently, Apple has been sort of more successful in China, which is a positive thing, right? In having injunctions against themselves overturned. Where it was like, I think it was a company in China that took Apple to court in China over claiming that they nicked designs or aspects of the iPhone 6. So, but in regards to Sony, what's actually more interesting is when I look at it is, when and where did this company reportedly, allegedly, or apparently gather the intel or the exact specifications of these plates in order to be able to offer them for sale in the first place? I don't know the exact sort of ordering or pre-ordering details in this case. Maybe someone in the chat or panel can tell us.
I'm sure they got the faceplates off the patents themselves off the device.
Right.
Every single piece of the device is on the patent when they patent them. So they probably got the dimensions and the specifications off the patents, which are public domain. So
So I don't know how easy it is to create that off of the patent. I would say there would be a lot more trial and error to get it accurate, especially from a molding perspective. But in China, from my experience, again, I'm old, yeah, so things may change. But in China and India, bribery and corruption and theft is prevalent, if not rife. Before we get to too high and mighty and moralistic, making judgments on other countries and races, it's just as bad, if not obscenely much worse than the Western world, right? We dress it up in a more romantic and fanciful names such as industrial espionage and sabotage and all that sort of stuff, right? And we do it in the best interests of loved ones or corporations or governments we serve. So as far as I can see, it's illegal and unethical theft of business trade secrets to be used by a competitor, or in this case, an opportunist, in order to achieve achieve a competitive and money-making advantage or opportunity. That's how I see it, and that's how I think the legal side view it, right? Unless we're going to change the laws, right? It's often done by an insider or an employee who gains access and steals information for a considerable fee. So I spoke again about this yesterday, right? And it took me back to something that happened in the UK. There was a guy called Nicholas Wheelwright and Trevor Will. You won't know these guys, but I'm a big Cody's fan since back from Mean Machines. But they were working at Cody's. They left and set up what was it? Project Playground Games, right? That's right. Back in 2010, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and both were former high-level execs at Codemasters. They left and founded PGG 15 minutes down the road in Leamington Spa. So, well, they're both in Leamington Spa. People keep referring to Codemasters in Cheshire because that's what it says, but I've always referred to them as in up in Leamington Spa. I don't know the outcome of the court case. Maybe it was settled out of court and prior to trial, but they were issued like with a high court writ, for poaching staff, key technology, and trade secrets, right? So it's like, where do you draw the line, right? People on Twitter and YouTube and journalists and not really interested in seeking the truth other than saying, hey, there's a court case, let's get some clicks and stuff, right? They never ever follow through in terms of what the eventual outcome is, right? Or update the actual the blog itself, right? The fact is, the games industry is full of, even though it's quite huge, it's pretty incestuous, and it still is full of immature lowlifes and cutthroat mercenaries. That's the best only way I can put it. And yes, I mean, even at upper management at some of the big publishers and hardware manufacturers that we all love, right, dearly, so dearly. And there's no, you really don't have to look much further than Ubisoft recently, right, with the widespread allegations of sexual misconduct. It always stems from the top, right? And Mr. Guillemot and speaks to the nature of his leadership. It's important to note, this all happened to Cody's, by the way, after the Darling brothers sold off their major share to the company. And it could have, I know that these they were the beating heart of the company to a degree, but these two trusted key gents and dozens or so that people that were taken from the studio were pivotal members to Cody's who helped establish Codemasters and big IPs. I don't know if you guys remember or ever played it, Colin McRae Rally, right? It was big at the time. Maybe the people that left were promised something on the sale of the business, and perhaps promises and gentlemanly handshakes were not kept or adhered to. I simply don't know, but it does show you why Dirt 5 from Codemasters is really like a shadow that shows that they're a shadow of their former selves. Because I remember at the time when I was a lot younger and playing their games that they were at the cutting edge. But I think I've gone slightly off topic, Stubbs, so I'm just going to stop there.
You're fine, mate. You're fine.
Sorry, I'll keep doing this. It's the meds, mate. It's the meds. I blame the meds.
It's fine. Yeah. No.
The knockoffs, probably.
But no. Yes. Definitely. Who being very unprofessional here. The plot. I've lost the plot again. Right.
Come on, removable, step in.
Who have I spoke to?
Well, you're talking about faceplates, right?
That's it, faceplates. That's it.
Yeah.
PS5.
Removable? Do you want to give your take on this? I talked about this yesterday.
Well, to be honest with you, it's a bit of a weird one because I actually caught your guys' stream yesterday, and right up until probably listening to VJ, I was probably thinking exactly the same as Infinite. And then obviously VJ gave us his in-depth knowledge, and I was like, actually, that makes a little bit more sense. So my opinion flipped, all because of VJ on the podcast last night, and he's reiterated it again, thankfully for us tonight, with his in-depth knowledge. A bit like what VJ is saying is, did this company make any attempt to speak to Sony and say, can we help out? Can we do something? Can we have your permission? Can we work with you? Or did they just go ahead and do it as an opportunistic move? My gut feeling, again, it was Sony just doing this to just be spiteful. Again, after listening to VJ's comments, I kind of think that maybe it is much more opportunistic. And VJ is very correct in here. The gaming industry is very incestuous. Everybody knows everybody, but it's gamers, developers, journalists. They are they know who they're talking to. They know they know everybody really. And my gut feeling is that this was potentially an opportunistic move to cash in. Whether intentional or not, we can't actually say. It was probably maybe just good intentions. But it's one of these things. I suspect they probably didn't ask permission, and we don't know. If they had done, maybe Sony would have said, "Yeah, okay, no problem." But let's face it, if they haven't done, and my gut feeling isn't, would you allow that to happen? If you've designed something, you've created something, would you allow someone just to kind of hop on and take over? I mean, it happens left, right, and center. I think mostly in the mobile world. So I'm leaning, and I don't like always to lean towards corporations. I'm a very anti-corporation person myself, but I'm leaning that Sony probably did the right thing, and that if the PlayStation Plate team had gone things about correctly, maybe it probably wouldn't have happened this way. That's my thoughts on that, anyway.
Yeah, the other thing I would add to that is that Sony have been known to work with a few different accessory manufacturers, and if they, I can't remember the one in Japan. It will come to me in a minute. And if they've got agreements in place with third parties who are actually paying license fees to create faceplate, we don't know, then I can guarantee you in those contracts, they will be obligated to shut down any third party company that hasn't got a license in order to produce these things. So there might be something contractual that they're obligated to do anyway. So look, there's loads of connotations to this. So loads of things can happen. But at the moment, the way that the legal system is set up, the way that patent infringement or trademark infringement can be litigated against, then I think as long as those laws are in place, whether we like them or not, and I know people will harp back, well, Sony allowed PlayStation controllers and rapid fire controllers back in the day, but they were establishing themselves back then. And I talked extensively about what else they did in their other electronics business and how they set up businesses, set up industries, and then as soon as they were established in certain territories, cut them out, and then it was just cutthroat corporate shenanigans really. But I guess you get where we're coming from. It's not necessarily we're agreeing with it. It's just the way things are, right?
It's business.
Yeah,
but they are going to make skins, I think, still. So
absolutely.
They're going to just transform their model and make skins. So
I think they were designed. Let's face it, the design itself allows for it to be modified. And whilst it is probably designed, because I think when we was talking about when it was first showcased off, our first thoughts was, why is these fins there? What is the purpose for it? And whilst one of the aspects is to probably push airflow and ensure airflow escapes in the certain direction they require. Secondly, the fact that you can remove not just one side, but both sides hinted heavily at customization. And let's face it, why wouldn't you want customization? Customization of your consoles is one. If you want to, we can see the customization in controllers. It's another chunk of funds that's going to help Sony out. And so I suspect it was a two-tier thing. It was a design that looks cool, helps, it's functional, but also it's going to be another revenue. And as you said, it's a revenue you want to protect.
Yeah, and you can't stop everybody. You can't litigate everybody. There's so many people out there doing this, and IP protection is important. But I don't think this is any different from when I'm walking through a mall and you walk up to that stand and they're selling 57 different hoodies, and it's all kinds of Marvel characters and video game characters. I'm going to guess that they didn't reach out to DC and ask if they could sell Joker hoodies for $20 a piece. That taking a wild guess there. People are doing this all the time. This company and other companies will do this regardless. They will take the risk and they will sell these things. It will happen.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. But let's face it, those hoodies, it just takes one person to report them and they will be shut down.
Yeah, I think
it's true.
I think if you both guys make a very good point, and if you want to look at this on even a much grander scale, forget about Sony. I remembered something back from May 2018 on a much grander scale. that makes this look like, sort of salt in the wound, so to speak. But Samsung, remember, they were found to be guilty and infringing upon Apple's intellectual property. I don't know what it was, and that just tells you it couldn't have been that serious, but they were ordered to pay $540 million, right, to Apple. And so it happens up and down the food chain, right? And but that one was a big one back in the day. I'm sure you guys probably remember it, right? So yeah, it's interesting. Oh, and that Japanese accessory company that's been around for about 30 odd years was a Hori. I don't know if you remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, they make the fighting sticks, the arcade sticks.
Yeah, they make all sorts of different accessories back from official Game Boy lights back in the days of the black and white Game Boy, and they still make sort of weird, unique accessories we don't see over here. I don't know if there's a distributor in the US or Europe, but yeah, they often team up with Nintendo, Sony to make sort of very unique and very high quality cases, accessories, controllers, arcade sticks, as you mentioned, and all sorts. Often, a higher price than the official stuff, just due to the fact that they focus on high level of quality. But I'm just concerned here that Stubbs is falling asleep, so I'm just going to shut up.
No.
Has there actually been a statement from Sony regarding this?
Don't think so. It's just been from the company that got the litigation towards them.
Well, like you guys said earlier too, I mean, it's their product. Do they have to release any type of statement against it? I mean, it is their design. It is their product. They can say whatever they want.
A statement, I suspect, would probably, I wouldn't say deter, potentially hinder further other people probably going down this path. It is interesting that there's nothing been said from Sony's part. I mean, VJ, you might be able to confirm whether this is a typical standard sort of aspect, but I would have assumed some sort of, even if it's just a one line or statement, something I would assume would be coming out to warrant, or even push a "don't you dare try this."
From Sony,
just them doing litigation against the company is, I guess, voice enough, if you would ask.
Yeah,
me.
I think they have to be careful with that kind of stuff coming across. PR is important as well, right? So, you got to be careful what you put out there as far as your statements, that go public. I think they pretty much spoke their piece with the way they dealt with that company about how they feel about it. And that's public enough. Now, if they come on top of that and say, hey, nobody better do this, you know what I mean? Or we're coming after you, or anything that's kind of remotely close to that could be
a backlash for them.
Could be a backlash.
I think they've already said it by doing it, so they probably don't have to repeat themselves.
Yep.
True.
Yeah.
I think we've all chimed in on this subject. I think you chimed in a bit as well, Goat Force.
I have tried really hard, Stubbs, to give unpopular opinions today.
I agree with you, VJ. It's their product. It's their patent. I'm
glad you're speaking more, Infinite, because in the chat people were complaining that
I don't know why
we weren't giving you enough time apparently. And I said it's a free flowing show. People can jump in when they like.
I'll tell you, in the future,
hospitality.
In the future, when I create the Fun Speculation gaming box, I'm not going to let anybody sell my plates.
You want the money for yourself, right? I completely agree. Can we get a subcontract on that?
Yeah. The license fee is going to be huge.
I guarantee I'll be in my garage working away, nibbling away at something, getting my 3D printer out.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I got everyone. I'm sure you chimed in, didn't you, Goat Force? I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, got you. But no, soon, within about a year, there'll be faceplates. You'll be able to buy it on eBay, Amazon, bloody everywhere. They won't be able to cope. You'll be able to buy them pretty easy for the PS5 because there'll be that many different companies. We're getting litigation. They'll be like changing the names, eBay shop name. Just
but let's face it, you're going to go for the licensed one, aren't you? Just in case it doesn't bust your PS5.
Yeah,
would you really want? Because look, this is not a controller. If a controller breaks, it breaks. It's not going to damage your console. This is fixed to the console. Now, I'm not. If they make one wrong move or the design blocks an airflow or something and breaks your PS5, what are they going to say? Sorry,
Well, exactly.
You know,
In fact, they've probably written that in to the terms of service of having the console somewhere in a small
possibly.
print. It would probably says if you remove the original plates, you've voided your warranty. Probably
Well, I think you can remove them,
words
just replicate them or something, or you can only use PlayStation only plates.
No, Dreadpool hasn't chimed in. Dreadpool's not on the show. He's in chat.
I want to
we keep trying to get him on here, though.
Halo plates and put them on my PS5.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Would that be sacrilegious?
It would, but it'd be fun to do.
Xbox Pope.
Twitter would explode, wouldn't they? Twitter would explode. And to be fair, you could probably see Pope doing that. Pope's got his own designs or something.
He said he's going to break the internet tomorrow.
Yeah, he did.
That's going to be it.
I'm watching.
Yeah, I've tried to get a bit of info about him, but he's just not breaking. He's not. He won't say.
It's NDA.
Yeah, probably is. But yeah,
I'm gonna wrap my PS5 fins in aluminum foil to stop all the hackers.
Well, actually,
they're out there. Those hackers are out there.
Well done. We're transitioning now. That leads on to Ubisoft. Ubisoft is Ubisoft investigating potential Watch Dogs Legion source code leak. Back in October, a ransomware gang called can't read it. Irigora or something. I can't read it. Leaked data. It claimed it had obtained the internal networks of the crisis maker Crytek and Ubisoft. Now, in a case of a life imitating art, the source code for hacking adventure games Watchdog Legion has leaked online and weighs in at 560 gigabytes. We are aware of the group's claim and are currently investigating a potential data security incident, an Ubisoft spokesman has said. Now that's some serious, you've got serious problems if that's true. Do you know what I mean? Ransomware on that. You know, that's not good whatsoever, is it? You know, wow. So, have you got any? Thoughts? Goat Force.
Well, it's certainly a bummer. It happens. You know, you can't stop these groups. It's such a big scene of people out there trying to crack and hack and then post the information out there. It's a bummer. That's my only thought on it. You know, it takes years and millions of dollars to develop this stuff, and then this goes and happens. Now, I think, you know, I don't know that we're at a point where it's going to hurt their profits on the game. The game seems to be selling really well. There's a lot of people out there on social media that seem to be enjoying it. So I don't know what the longer lasting consequences of this are going to be further on out. But you know, it's a bummer. But the scene, you know, the scene has been around for decades. People doing this.
Yeah, I mean, even the government gets ransomware infiltrated. Sure. It happens everywhere. Yeah. It does. It used to be weird because it used to be so much prevalent in PCs, but the problem is a lot of people nowadays, they don't boot up their laptop. I mean, I'm doing the podcast now, but apart from my content, I basically surf on my mobile, and they try and target mobiles now, don't they? Rather than the laptops. You don't really hear about it as much anymore. It's like the old Flickr worm years ago, you know, stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not good either way, is it? You know, but it is quite common. But it's not often you hear it in video games. You know.
Yeah, it's true. You know, like all things that go wrong in a big way, I think that other organizations look at this and they learn from it, and all we can do is try to beef up security and take a step back and say, hey, you know, this happened. What do we need to do? What do we need to do to try and future-proof?
Definitely. Yeah, you can bomb with security. You can never do enough. That's the problem.
Right.
There's always some bright spark that's slightly cleverer and works out a new place to get in.
Right.
Whereas,
Right.
it's a hard situation. But what are your thoughts, technical expert, removable sanity, security guru?
Just security guru. I to be honest with you, it's going to be.
You reminded me. Sorry, you
fight.
reminded me of Rodney, security detail trotter watch. Sorry.
Yes, about right. Actually, yeah, probably about right in that. I'm interested at what the company is interested in what the company's going to say and what the findings are, because from the rumors I heard and from the kind of information I looked at, it sounds like they were trying to ransom money, as hackers normally do, try and ransom money out of it and said, if you don't give us this, we will leak it online. And obviously they didn't, basically do that. And that's how it's happened. I think it's going to be, what is the effect, and what's going to be the effect on gamers? If there is a good effect, is this source code going to be utilized in a way that it can get into gamers' accounts in some format? Is there a backdoor which can be used? And that's the key thing. And if there is such a thing, and 9 times out of 10 there is always a backdoor, it's normally left into the coders for themselves. They can just get into the actual system quickly and modify and tweak things. How is then the developer going to rectify it? And that's going to be the thing I'm keeping an eye out on, because it is rare. But it is probably actually happens more than you think. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah, you are right. It's like the situation, the banks. When the banks get attacked or hacked, there's actually a law. See, in Britain, you have to say, if a normal company gets hacked, like say Amazon UK got hacked or whatever, you have to state and let the public know. But in the banks, it's actually legal to say it's leaked or a bank's been hacked into. So it's obviously it's not the same in gaming. Because you scare
yes,
people.
That's right. It's to mitigate any potential fear in the industry, and therefore you see that the customers then start withdrawing, and which makes the situation even worse. In terms of the government,
Rock, remember that Northern Rock?
God, yeah.
All pulled the money out. They were going around the block. You have no money to bring in.
The government themselves obviously has agents that hack. Every government has their own hackers. Every government utilises their own hackers. So it's going to be, and same thing with developers. They have their
Graphic
own
God! What's up, mate? How you doing, Graphic God? Welcome.
So yeah, I think it's going to be what. Let's find out what the developer's response is, and then I would say take that with a pinch of salt. So if in my instance, whatever their response is, that will be the downplayed response. So if they say, "Oh, we found something that's quite bad," it's probably 10 times worse. Exactly. Because they're not going to go, holy crap, this is a direct link to everybody's account. It may very well be.
We look at Sony. Look at when Sony got hacked. PlayStation got hacked. I mean,
it's happened. It's happened on every major console, every time on every system, and it will continue happening. But if you ever kind of want to see what the results are, find out what the response is, and then double it. That's normally the situation. Is
definitely, yeah. It's an ongoing thing in this age of internet. It's a thing that's always been there, but people are more aware of it these days. They are. So yeah. What's your thoughts, Goat Force security expert?
Well, I kind of weighed in already on it. I guess we'll have to see, like others have said, we'll have to see what happens. But like Removable said, this has been happening for quite some time now, and we'll just have to see the impacts down the line. But that said, it does look like gamers are enjoying their experience so far, and hopefully it doesn't create any backdoors and problems for gamers, and their associated accounts.
Oh, most definitely. Man, for your thoughts. I know everyone's basically says the same thing because it's not a very in-depth topic. It's not really.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, basically.
There's always people out there looking to take advantage of people and companies, and ultimately, who ends up suffering is the consumer at the end of the day, not the big corporation, right, that they're trying to damage. So, I don't like people that do stuff like that. So hopefully it gets resolved, and this is also another reason why there's more always online type experiences and all that kind of stuff, because it's easier to have DRM and all that kind of stuff, right? And protect things. So back when I was a teenager, you could ask me then, I was like, oh, cool, there's stuff free on the internet, but like as you get older, you kind of learn that, it's not all fun and games, and it's a shame that this stuff happens, especially to this scale. So
most definitely.
That's a really good call out. Back in the day, I was one of the people sitting on IRC.
No, Napster.
Sure, Napster. Yeah,
IRC was the original Napster.
Yeah, the point and click version of IRC,
Yeah.
Napster. But I was one of those folks, and I think you make a good point. As you mature, as you get a grown-up job, you've got your own money, you kind of understand a little bit more about the things at play here, and you do look at that and you go, that's really crappy what they're doing, actually. But you're right. 15 years ago, I would have said, oh man, free games, let me get after it, but we've got to support these organizations so they continue making more cool stuff for us to play around with. So yeah, it's a great call out you make.
Thank you.
I could take a different perspective on this.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah.
And then I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. Like you guys had said, back in the day, getting the source code, once you knew once the source code was released, you were going to get that game for free. Look at the aspect of say Skyrim with the source code being released, all the bug fixes the community created for that game, for all the issues that game and bugs of all the broken quests and all the broken dialogues that you couldn't progress any further in certain quests that the community came together and fixed, and because they were able to fix those things because they had the source code to do it. So you got to think of those mods. I don't necessarily see that as the ID piracy as they were speaking for you yourself being hacked, but as their DRM being hacked. Obviously, them getting through the DRM and being allowed for anybody to download and play the game without having the sufficient DRM or the codes.
Yeah, really well said.
Yeah,
but you do. You got to look at both aspects of it. Being older, like you guys said, things change. You get a little older, you get a little more responsible, and you don't necessarily do those things like we used to do when we were younger. But right. If it was the first, and then think of what I think the aspect of the article was the fact that the source code wasn't released by Ubisoft; it was taken from them from an internal server. Eventually, that source code would have been given or leaked out eventually by not being hacked on their network by somebody else released it internally. Name a game recent time that hasn't had source code released. Look at Grand Theft Auto 5 and all the mods and all the servers you can play on those.
You've told me
certain aspects like that. The biggest issue with source codes and when they're released is games like Call of Duty. Once you have that source code, now you have a hacker that has an aimbot.
Yep.
Those are the biggest issues when source codes are released. But being that Ubisoft isn't on like an online game that you're playing like competitively as a first-person shooter, I don't necessarily think that it's that big of as a gander as the article's making it out to be.
Well, I didn't. You taught me some. I didn't know that Skyrim got source code was released and a load of bugs got fixed. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I mean, now I believe if I'm not mistaken, you can when you have Skyrim on the Xbox, you can download the mods. They have the mods there available for you to download to fix those bugs.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I mean, you could download the mods that they have on Skyrim. They have them there available for you to download. All the ones that they never fixed.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's
I
what it is.
It sounds like you know what you're talking about, Infinite, definitely. Because I didn't know anything about that. Because I know years ago I used to be into looking at technology news, and they used to say that a lot of the stuff that was open sourced, people could fix. But apart from that, I didn't know about games releasing source code and stuff. I didn't know that was a thing. So I've learned something. I have. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I think more or less the article is referencing how it was taken.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically, yeah. They probably will catch him in the end. You know.
Absolutely.
Most of them.
Sorry.
Yeah, but most of them get caught nowadays.
Most of the ones you hear about.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And I'm going to be polite at that. That's all I'm going to say.
Great,
is
yeah.
It's removable. It's him.
Yeah.
If you hear about it, you're not very good.
Exactly.
I can tell you that from now. There are certain. I can't really talk about it, but I can tell you now. Though you don't know the ones that are good, you don't know about.
No, you don't.
You hear that? Removable's all getting cocky. He knows he's going to get away with it.
Well, you don't
Trust me, I could bet.
advertise yourself. You just drop the information. You just drop the source code, and so they'll know. There's no recognition there. These guys are obviously want the fanboyism of it, and they will get caught because of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're going for too much here.
Yeah, they can do it, but it generally, as you rightly said, it's there to be showcase off. 9 times out of 10, when this is done, as you rightly said, it's there to show off to the dark web community that they're good and they can be established. The question is 9 to, but if the ones who have got the ones who are, how am I going to try and put this in a way that I can say it carefully? They normally do it anonymously because
always
that way. The dark web community knows who would have done it, without a doubt. They've got their suspicions. They know who it is. You generally don't put your name to it. You put a tag to it, effectively, and that's the best way I can describe it. And so the ones that are never really caught, or the ones that you don't know about, and it's just somehow got leaked, are the ones that you need to watch out for. The ones that kind of promote themselves, they're the newbies.
Yeah.
And as you said, they're the ones that will get caught. The fact that, and again, I could be reading the article wrong. This was a blackmail attempt. Am I incorrect? Is that correct?
Normally, when they say ransomware, then that's what they normally mean.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Normally.
So this would indicate to me that this wasn't about prestige. This was about funds. And again, it could be about prestige, a little bit of prestige in terms of, we are ransoming one of the biggest developers. But the risk versus reward would tell me that it's probably someone who's not very good.
Definitely. VJ's been a bit quiet. Is it subject you know anything on?
I'll give it a go. Why not? I've given everything else a go, and I come up sort of trumps, but never mind. I'm just wondering if it was to aid Kojima in case he isn't working with Sony on his next game. And
that's exactly what nailed it on the head again, VJ.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why you can't work with the Decima engine. And someone said, "Don't worry, I'll go and get you the Ubisoft engine." No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
It could be Kojima himself.
Yeah, probably. But maybe the concept for his next game. I guess there is a couple of initial key questions in the scenario. is the intel actually true? Look, I'm not an expert in this kind of thing, so I'll just ask a couple of layman things, right? Since I haven't as yet seen any official comment, press release or notification from Ubisoft. Now, I may be wrong, maybe it's something out there, maybe it's totally out of the loop. If indeed true, then the inquiry sort of turns to inwards, I would assume, as to how did this sort of nightmare situation or scenario actually happen, arise, and or occur. Personally, my mind does not go towards the commercial impact on the game, because I think somebody already mentioned on the panel, it will still sell well, right? Because the layman or the mass consumer is not really even probably going to see this article. Ubisoft
officially did say that they were looking into the claim.
Right.
Okay, so but that don't mean it's happened, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it has or hasn't happened. So we're just hypothesizing here. So let me continue to hypothesize here.
Yeah.
So Ubisoft may possibly have in place. Actually, let me rephrase that. I believe all companies in this day and age should be prudent and smart enough, and I'm sure Removable will step in if I'm being sort of totally, immature about this. But Ubisoft should have in place some countermeasures to deal with such scenarios. Maybe it's via additional content for consumers or otherwise. This is just a complete, honestly, it's just a complete guess on my part. The key question for me is the source code. Is the source code legally protected? And it all goes back to, Sony's patents and all this sort of stuff we've been discussing in terms of other publishers, developers gathering knowledge. I guess my Kojima comment wasn't really a joke. Developers gathering knowledge and know-how and possibly enhancing their games based on what they learn from the source code and / information leak. A friend of mine, I won't name his, just call him Dr. H, sort of described it to me as appalling news, right? If true. Again, both of us sort of agreed that we don't know just or exactly what has come out, right? And as you said, Stubbs, that Ubisoft are looking into it, right? If it's actually occurred. However, this will grant some view, in my opinion, if it has happened, into the proprietary engine tech used, not just in this game, but what about other games as well, right? Because I'm assuming, and I think I've read before, that there's a lot of cross-pollination between the studios, right? So it's not like custom tech just for Watch Dogs and they're okay. I don't think that's the case. The source will have all the legal protections possible to block direct commercial exploitation, I would assume, right? But that doesn't sort of eliminate all the risks, right? So maybe someone or somebody who was and I'm really, really sort of reaching here, that was a victim of the sexual misconduct allegations, has come back to bite Ubisoft in the arse, if not to exact sweet and creative revenge of sorts. I just don't know. I'm just humoring here. Okay? I'm not really. Don't quote me. This is just having a bit of a light moment with you guys. This has been a very serious podcast, far too serious for me, especially on these meds. You never know that there might be a basis, actually it might be a basis for an indie game story right there in there somewhere, but they might even use the alleged sort of source code to write a game, right? So we were talking about Sony yesterday in terms of them issuing a cease and desist order, right? And we've been talking about it today, right? To manufacture or infringing on Sony's intellectual property rights based on pending or approved patents or trademarks or whatever the blurb is right now. But I will say this, and I won't say what, where, when, or how, but just sort of Removable sort of hinted on something. I've known developers from afar, senior producers and directors who've taken proprietary information and code, and without telling one, not even their current employers, have gone ahead and planted or embedded said lines of code into a video game environment.
Wow.
On a serious note, on a much grander or larger scale than if you really want to look at that. I've already kind of pointed out right earlier in the conversation about I have no idea what Samsung did, and they ended up paying Apple $540 million for whatever the infringement was, right? And they probably did it knowingly, right? They have huge departments that look at this stuff before it even goes into the phone, but they probably thought that the profits that were making far outstripped the fine that they would have to pay, right? Maybe it was a risk, but this was a court battle between the two biggest smartphone makers in the world. As Removable would say, you have to be very careful to protect yourself these days, more so than ever before. I don't know if that was a very good impression, but I gave it a go. But but I think it goes back to no corporation wants to give an inch in these sort of scenarios or situations. And hello Sony and faceplates. It may seem small to us, but I think there's a zero tolerance policy in place with these corporations. They don't think about or happen upon patenting or trademarking or protecting that what's core to the nucleus, to the value or focus of their company, right? And they sort of have a checklist, right, that they tick off. Can we patent? Can we trademark? Can we cut off supply to competitors, right? Do we need to license? Is it whatever, but so on and so forth? And that's all during the course of any R&D that they spend, right? And they spend billions, whether it ever sees the light of day or not, especially since all of this stuff adds value to the company as a whole. So that will be interesting. That if it is indeed true, what happens to the to Ubisoft in terms of its value? Probably nothing, but then again, who knows, right? And maybe Microsoft will pick them up on the cheap eventually. Who knows? But in some respects, I think it's karma, right? What's happening to Ubisoft? Considering I'm not the biggest fan of Eve's, we'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, no, they've got a bit of a bad rep now recently, but you know. But yeah, thanks for all the comments on that. I mean, well, there is one more subject, but I don't really want to keep people. But if they want to quickly touch on the PS5 controller, we can quickly touch on it. If the panel can or not.
You know, all those speculations are just were for Mav, right? Because he hasn't been as at all speculative as he usually is, so I have to chime in for him.
If you guys have got time, we can talk on the PS5 controller if you want. If not, we'll leave it for another week.
This is funny because this is the same topic that we left off yesterday.
Oh, damn it.
Is it?
You need to talk about it, don't you?
Basically, if you want to chime in, if not, you don't have to. Basically, the PlayStation 5's new Dual Sense 5 controller works on the PS3 console, but not the PS4. Any thoughts on that?
It works on everything but the PS4.
Yes.
Pretty much.
In fact, fuck it. I'll get one to play the xCloud. Play on my phone.
So for me, I'll step in, is that it just kind of shows that some of the talk, again, has been a little bit of BS, about only capable of being used on PlayStation 5, because it's a next-gen experience. Right. So the thing is, I don't really know who this benefits because, I would think Sony would want to sell more PS5 controllers, right? If they made it available at the PS4, because that controller is one of the best things about the PS5 that's out there, right? Other than the fact that they could say, well, the PS5 is the best thing about the controller is the best thing about the PS5, so you have to get the console to use it. But now people are seeing that that's kind of BS because you can use it on anything else, right? Switch or xCloud or your PC or whatever.
Your PlayStation 3.
Yeah, your PS3. You can use it on that as well. So, unless PS4 just has some really unique technology with it, as far as being able to make their controller work on the PS4, then it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, it's strange, definitely.
I'm sure they'll roll out an update at some point so that it's, it works there as well. I'm sure they'll do that.
Hope so.
Oh yeah, definitely. You would have thought it can't be that difficult, really. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's Bluetooth controllers. Yeah, well, I presume they are anyway.
Yeah, it's probably just a change of one line of code that they denied it.
Maybe it was a disgruntled employee changed the code slightly. Sabotage. I'm kidding.
I don't know. Do they want it to work on the PS4?
I don't know.
I don't believe they do. I think that's why. But obviously they didn't block it from being used on the PS3 or other. Because
maybe they just didn't assume. Hey, people aren't even going to try this.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
I'd like to say something unless someone else wants to go.
You're all right. You can go if you want.
You sure? Look, all I will say is that Sony want to transition gamers across to PlayStation 5 as soon as possible, and especially before Xbox gets a firm foothold, which they will do. They're set up nicely in this upcoming generation of console hanky-panky and foolishness. I hope you don't mind me throwing in a few jokes, Stubbs, because I normally am quite serious, right? But I just
you can. This is not a serious show at all.
You have to be serious, VJ.
I know, it's just that these meds have got me every which way till Sunday.
I'm not a serious. This ain't a serious show. You know, you don't have to be serious.
If it was serious, you wouldn't have me on.
Oh dear.
No,
Serious
don't undercredit yourself, Removable. You're very good at podcasting. Very good.
Yeah, you are. Just bring the beers next time. It's a typical Sony move on all accounts, and I would tender that Sony have purposely blocked the compatibility or uses of the PS5 DualSense on the PS4. I think our American cousins alluded to it, but they should have been a bit more blunt about it. That's how it seems, and I'm obviously talking to the guys on the panel. That's how it seems, at least, or how else can you explain that it's compatible with the PlayStation 3? And is it the Switch? Did you say, and the PC and stuff? So you have to say it's a port oversight on Sony's part, not testing or being foolish enough not to test the PS5 DualSense on various, if not all, potential gaming devices. I would say 95%, maybe more, maybe less. It's debatable of PS4 gamers were never going to purchase a DualSense for the PS4, especially since I'm assuming you probably can't make use of all of its features. But again, only Sony will know that, right? Maybe it can, right? Only since Sony have decided not to allow the DualSense features to work on cross-gen PS4 games, which I think is a shame, because I think it can. But it's just subjective and supposition from me, right? I don't have any factual basis for that. But what I mean is that I think the PlayStation 5 DualSense features could work with PS4 games. And I'm only looking across to Nintendo's controllers and what they've been able to achieve on lesser hardware than the PS4. Perhaps not every feature, but maybe key gameplay feedback features, right? We just don't know for the moment, as I've said. So I didn't design the DualSense, but if it came to light, the new PS4 games that are cross-gen, like God of War, Ragnarok, and Horizon Zero Dawn, as we're assuming that they may be, could support the DualSense and all the gameplay enhanced features in these new games, I personally would be really disappointed. Is the DualSense, I guess the question is, right, is the DualSense being kept behind a $500 plus paywall, right, in this instance? Does anyone in the panel or the chat think not, right? Again, we go back to the Nintendo and the motion control experimentation, with the GameCube controller development, when they held that back instead of releasing the game, they held it back for the Wii U, right? Unique selling points and features. Oh, well, we're not back to faceplates again, are we? Are fundamentally key to selling new hardware and maintaining business growth, coupled with advancements. I need to take more of these pills on a more regular occasion, especially on Boom Show. I'm sure you'll have a gas. I'm sure Sony would have thought through the pros and cons of allowing the DualSense to be compatible with the PS4. Stay with me here, I haven't lost everybody. It's a what-if question, and a very intriguing and fascinating one at that, if we're to take things seriously. So one that the panel and the chat should discuss, or could discuss and debate, right, if we've got the time. I can't help personally feel that allowing the DualSense to work on the PS4 maybe in a fully featured or slightly diminished manner. Again, I don't know what features could or couldn't work in relation to the cross-gen PS4 versions of the game, would be a brilliant move to get PS4 owners familiar with the notion of PS5 hardware. Okay, albeit in the form of a great joypad, but longer term be able to migrate them across to the PS5 by getting them sort of invested into the ecosystem via game-changing controller in every aspect or respect of the definition, especially from what I've heard from John Lineman so far. Right? I haven't experienced it for myself, and also from Skill Up. I wonder if at launch Sony will provide patches for all the I think is it like 23 games that they're providing in the PlayStation Plus now, like the old games, the old top games. And I'm just wondering if at launch, because Lineman sort of pointed to a few special things, right, that might occur right around launch. I'm wondering if those games have been enhanced, not maybe just resolution, maybe not just frame rates, but to be compatible in some form or manner with this new controller, right? Especially those games that are coming if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, 20 odd games. And thus these games are now upgraded to fully take advantage of the DualSense features, is what I'm trying to say. that would be pretty intelligent, incredible. But why not for PS4 owners as well? When that's your golden goose right now, when you've got 115 million console sales and 45 million subscribers. So I think they must have looked at it. They must have built a model towards it. If they hadn't, I'd be pretty surprised, but nothing surprises me. Corporations as big, as intelligent, as money as they are, they can get a bit complacent. The DualSense right now, and I think somebody on the, I don't know if it was you, Goat, or Mav, so I do apologize, or it might have been you, Infinite, said something really important to me that clicked with me, and that was the DualSense is a key PR marketing aspect, narrative, component, and weapon for the PS5. And I'll leave it at that, but that's all I've got to say. So thank you very much and good night.
I could provide an alternative theory.
Bugger.
Okay.
But this is going to be, and this is going to be me defending Sony here to a degree. We're assuming this was intentional. What is to say that this wasn't a manufacturing cock-up, which was only caught after a large number of controllers were produced? At which point the management went, what do we do? Do we run with it, retroactively resolve it later on, or do we stop this production going out, which will cost us billions?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was a bit confused because before, obviously, PlayStation do change their mind a lot about what they're saying now. And I was led to believe that because the Xbox controllers, the new ones, work on the Xbox One as well and vice versa, PlayStation came out and said their new controller is forwards and backwards compatible. And it's not now.
Oh, this is the thing. This is what kind of makes me wondering whether this was a manufacturing hiccup or slight over. Something happened in the manufacturing. They've gone too far down the manufacturing line before they've caught it, and now it's well, we don't want to sound like, it's a keep face sort of situation where they don't want to be seen as incompetent or even have had an issue in any form of regard. They are just there trying to just say, oh, actually, this was a choice. This is a choice we made. And then they can go back and say, actually, we've heard your thoughts. Thank you very much. We are listening to you. We're changing it. Because that also will be another positive PR spin as well.
I agree completely. I think they can spin it any number of ways. But I guess my question is, and maybe everyone on the panel can answer this, is that has there really been that much traction on this topic? Has there been an uprising at all? Has there been, of PlayStation fans gone, wow, what the hell?
I'll be honest. VJ, PlayStation gamers don't bitch or moan. You just accept it. They don't care. They don't. It's a fact. The Xbox gamers moan because they want things to become better.
Yeah.
And PlayStation fans generally don't ask for better. If they seem to be moaning, they seem to be negative. They don't want anything to be negative.
So they're negative. They're moaning about Xbox.
Yeah, it goes vice versa. We'll talk shit on them. They'll want to talk shit on the Xbox.
Well, exactly.
We accept what Xbox does and doesn't do.
Exactly.
And they accept what they do and what they don't do. But it's always nice to say what the other person's not doing.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, but we talk negative, or we had talk about EVERWILD, and we've talked about Halo and plenty, and like criticisms and what's going on. You know what I mean?
Mav, I would say that I'll tell you what I find in these podcasts. I know that we criticize specific companies, people, and so on and so forth, but it's not a witch hunt and it's not a criticizing them. Yeah. I think what we're doing is that we use them as case studies, right? And we give them a name so people can correlate with exactly the topic that we're talking about. And I think that what we're trying to do is, as a panel, is provide sort of an educated opinion so that gamers, especially Xbox gamers, seem to be far more happy to receive information that will educate themselves, right? With Sony players and gamers, they are sort of in the gutter, but they constantly look up at the sky, right, so to speak, right? I think Oscar Wilde said something right. But so whatever we say and whatever I say, well, I just want to put it out there, is that it's not negative, it's nothing of that. It's just that, hey, look, this is a case study.
Right.
What can we make of it, right? And that's what I wanted to say. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we have to talk about some of this stuff because otherwise, then we can't look deeper into it or ask for better when there is issues. Just like I listened to other podcasts last night where they were saying, "Hey, there's major issues they think going on with Halo." You know what I mean? And that's a Xbox podcast. Whereas some podcasts that we listen to, no matter what it is that happens on a certain platform, it's like, okay, cool, that's fine with me. But hey, did you see what Xbox did yesterday? That sucked. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
That's kind of where I'm going with that. But anyway, yeah, I'll move on.
No. I think you make a good point, and I think everything is valid.
So criticism of either platform is a good thing. It's when you are doing it just for because you're doing it just out of spite, or you're doing it out of fanboyism. That's the difference.
Or for clicks.
You should criticize your own platform. You should also criticize other platforms, and vice versa. Like I just did, you should also, not criticize, but praise when other platforms have done things.
I have to disagree with you, Removable, because I prefer to follow my mate Mav, right, who loves to speculate, and I'm on his bandwagon.
Oh yeah, speculating is fun.
It definitely is.
But I didn't say speculation. You can speculate, too, but I think I think praise and criticism should be done equally, regardless.
No, definitely.
And speculation is helpful because sometimes, speculation, it opens up another path of thought.
Yeah, it does, definitely. That's why I like it to be balanced. You don't always have to. Xbox. Xbox is my brand. I like the console. I always have liked Xbox. I had PS1 and 2 back in the day, and I joined in the 360 days, and I do like them. But now they're doing a good job. They're going to get there in the end, and all companies have got their faults and pluses. But all in all, Xbox is doing a great job. They're not perfect, but one day they'll get there. But no company's perfect,
6 days, guys.
Yeah.
I really hope you get your Series X sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Or you'll win one.
Well, didn't win Boom Show.
I've got a question for my fellow American panel members, cousins, so to speak. Did any of you order an Xbox Series X through Costco?
I did not.
Nor did I.
No.
I see. Okay, it's my first time experience here ordering a console. So I managed to get one through Costco. So they've already taken the money. So I'm hoping that they'll deliver it on the 10th. But I get this feeling that it's going to be on the 12th or something like that. So anyway, I thought I'd check.
You'll get your coffee first.
Yeah, probably. My vitamin.
I have a good feeling for you. They're known to have pretty good customer service. They take care of their members, so I have a good feeling for you.
Thank you, sir. It's much appreciated.
Good to hear. But hopefully everyone gets an Xbox that wants one. Hopefully I definitely get one because I don't know.
You want one?
I do want one, but hopefully
there'll be some available. I bet for Xbox. I think they really are pushing to have a massive amount of quantity.
I'm going at midnight in Amazon and all shops to have a look. So hopefully that's what they might drop them at midnight.
Are you able to get around with your knee, like around town?
He'll crawl there if he has to. Don't worry.
Yeah. Have somebody push you on a gurney over to over to GameStop.
The closest place that sells, if you're talking about game, it's 20 miles away.
I'd give you a piggyback ride if I was there.
Yeah.
I would require a wheelchair to go in. Yeah, I've got a wheelchair. I went in it earlier, down to the local shop. But I might hopefully get it online.
Is there a local village boy you could pay to go stand in line?
The problem is though, Infinite, your comments doesn't really work because we now, as of the minute we're speaking, the UK is now in lockdown. The shop's
closed.
Oh yeah. You guys are dealing with that right now.
So that's why I'm relying on hoping some websites have stock.
Oh, then that means the warehouses are empty then, right? No personnel working.
That warehouse,
Well, that's essential workers, right?
no warehouses can work. They never got warehouse. It was non-essential shops. But the problem is, what is essential and what is not essential?
An Xbox is essential.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
I would argue that
the supermarkets ain't stopping people selling non-essential items, but it's always the biggest argument. What you deem as essential is not essential to somebody else. It's vice versa. You see, but
Speaking of essential, like where would the world be without video games and entertainment for the house throughout the pandemic? Right? You know what I mean?
They all care about mental health, but it helps people's mental health.
Yeah,
There'd be a lot of family arguments over Monopoly. I'll tell you that much.
Jesus Christ,
it's been a game
as well.
changer. It's been a game changer for sure. I'm glad that I have the hobby.
Oh,
yeah, we've had it. If let's be honest, and across the board, we have had a pandemic hit at the most opportune moment in history.
No, you're correct.
20 years ago, if we had that pandemic then, we are
would I be really good at Mario?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've the countries. I think a lot of people. Pandemics generally are bad, and I think we've just been exceptionally lucky that it's hit in a time where most countries have average to good internet.
Yeah,
Yep.
Welcome, Fugly. About to wrap up the stream anyway. We are because I've got to go to bed. Well, I'm in bed, but because the podcast setup, but I got to go to hospital tomorrow. Get my knee checked on. I'll let you all know what they say.
Yeah, please.
Oh well, definitely. But anyway, thanks for.
It's broke.
Thanks for. No, it's actually fixed. You're wrong. It's actually fixed.
I just can't believe you just said that. Removable.
Anyway, thanks for stopping by, everyone. I've seen the indie gamer in there. Fugly's just come in. Pong Soul. Fun speculations.
Hey.
Do it all the time. I read the chat. Dreadpool. There's been loads. Wakanda News, Shizno Elite,
Cerebral,
Profit, Cerebral. Loads of people. I really appreciate you all stopping by. Thanks for coming, Removable. Can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Thank you very much. I can be found on YouTube, Twitter, and Minds under Removal Sanity.
Thank you. Thanks for filling in for Mr. Tucci, Mav. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Twitter at Fun Speculation, YouTube Fun Speculation, Xbox Mav /7, and also now I'm going to be joining regularly Four Guys with Quarters as a panel member there on Tuesdays. So I'll be hanging out with VJ. Thank you. And you can check out my own podcast, Xbox Ultimate, on the weekends on my YouTube channel.
Definitely. I will put Fun Speculations links into the description sometime tomorrow, but because this was a last minute decision that he saved me. He did. Thanks for that. Infinite, thanks for coming on. It's really appreciate you taking your time out to come on. I know you're not used to these topic-based podcasts, but it was good to have you on. Your perspective was greatly appreciated.
No, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the invite after I ask. And you guys are going to catch me on Retro Renegades on Tuesdays. And if you ain't already following me on Twitter, you can catch me on Infinite, same as it's spelled on there, ENFIN3T. I'll be glad to follow you back if I'm not already following you.
Definitely. Thanks. Now, well done, Goat Force Gaming. You were very, very good on the podcast. Now, this is your first podcast, I believe. And any podcaster listening, drop Goat Force Gaming a DM and get him on your show. He done very well.
Thanks so much. It was an absolute honor. I've been listening to you for long time. I think you were one of the first folks that I connected with on Twitter, and you've been
as well. Yeah,
you've been extremely kind. So very much appreciated. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you to all of you gentlemen. You've been tremendous to talk to. You can find me at GoatForce on Twitter, and then at GoatForce Gaming on YouTube. And thank you again, everyone. It really was a pleasure.
Oh, most definitely. Please subscribe to GoatForce. See if we can get him to 50 subscribers. He's at 33, I think, now. See if we can get him a bit higher. Drop a sub to him. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Definitely.
Very much. Thanks, Stubbs. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, VJ, as always. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah.
On 47 podcasts a week.
Yeah.
Really is where you can't find him.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the question, isn't it?
Actually, I was just going to say, if this is GoatForce's first podcast, I think you knocked it out of the park, dude, as they say on the American podcasts. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that coming from you.
From me, trust me, I'm a nobody, mate.
You're very well spoken. I disagree.
And Mav's going to be on Four Guys with Quarters with me on a weekly basis. I think he's there just to torture me and just to make sure that I speculate properly enough. So it's going to look forward to that with him. And Infinite, I really appreciate it, because I remember in the early days, Infinite, that when I first came onto Twitter, I didn't really have that many followers and stuff. And I know you were one of the first, right? And you've always supported me, so it's much appreciated. And I was surprised. I didn't know you was on today, so that was a nice surprise, actually. So thanks for coming on. And Removable Sanity, we'll just move past you. The Stubbs.
Probably wise.
We chat all the time, guys. So in the DMs. So there's nothing I haven't already said to him. Sent photos to him of. And Stubbs, I'm really glad that you're doing much better, right? And you're really much more cheerful than you were a few weeks back. And I hope everything goes wonderfully well for you tomorrow. And if you do get any spare meds, just slide them under the table to me.
I think you've had enough, VJ.
I've actually got to ask for some more.
There you go.
Everyone, the wonderful indie gamer, the moderator, has dropped GoatForce Gaming's YouTube in, so if you could please subscribe to him.
Yep, I've dropped it.
Appreciate it. Avish, welcome. But we're going now. I don't know if you've been lurking or not, but we're about to wrap up the show. Thanks for stopping by anyway. I appreciate it. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you all same time next week. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.